We got a lot of shit to get to, man. This is gonna be fire today. This is gonna be
Yeah.
fire. We're just gonna keep it nice and short and sweet. But there's a lot of funny news going on, man. Like this situation with ESPN inside the NBA. It's a doozy, man. I'm not gonna lie, it's a doozy. But you guys definitely check out Saeed's newsletter. What were you gonna say?
Oh, also before you guys check out my newsletter, subscribe to Orange Cookies, man.
I'll definitely appreciate you. And the newsletter for Saeed is gonna be on the description below. You guys definitely check it out. Fire ass articles. You guys keep up with the latest NBA news.
Like I saw the Charles Barkley thing. The guy's locked in with TNT, if I'm not wrong. So I assume it's gonna cover NCAA for them, and maybe even hockey or whatever program they have him doing.
Correct, but the thing is, what's going on ESPN? This situation is so unique. So inside the NBA now is gonna be sort of in a licensing deal with ESPN. Yeah. So they're gonna appear on ESPN and ABC during the NBA finals and certain in-season tournament games, etc. Right, and certain playoff games. Originally, when TNT was about to lose the NBA deal, they quickly re-signed Barkley to lock him in. So now, like, they kind of forced ESPN's hand for this whole situation to getting inside the NBA. So it's almost like they're on the Pat McAfee deal. He does not work for ESPN, so he's almost like a contractor. They license his show for about, I don't know, they said the number's around 17 mil a year, but the number's probably higher than that. There's bonuses, etc. But they license his show. They basically give him money to produce a show 5 days a week.
And just release on ESPN.
Correct. And that's basically what they're gonna do with inside the NBA. They're gonna license it, and at the same time, these guys, they all still work for TNT, but they could also have other shows on TNT. So this is a very unique thing, because usually TNT and ESPN, they're rivals, and that's where the lines are blurred. Now everyone is basically, sort of competition, but at the same time they could also collaborate. This is where this shit is kind of in a gray area, because Charles Barkley and Shaq and others, they could low-key still talk shit about ESPN.
Yeah.
Even though they're on the network, they're just being licensed by the network.
And they need them because they'd be the biggest person. Well, at least Charles Barkley would be the biggest personality in ESPN.
Yeah, but he's really not on ESPN.
Yeah.
He's probably the biggest personality that they license. But he's not on 100%. ESPN.
And he's bigger than Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee has a bigger program. But Barkley, the name itself, has more weight.
Yeah, and that inside the NBA show is it's undeniable. It actually supersedes basketball.
100%, because you have like two major players, and saying whatever they want.
Yep, and the cultural relevance, and this is where all this kind of ties in together, because a lot of things kind of came out with this deal. Because TNT basically, they got the global rights of the NBA for the live broadcasting, the playoffs across overseas. So on an international level, they're gonna be broadcasting the regular season NBA games. But as far as in America, it's going to be mostly ESPN, Amazon, etc. So, TNT almost finessed the deal where they kind of leveraged it inside the NBA, and they had a settlement with the league, because apparently to them, the league kind of broke their contract by negotiating with Amazon. But they settled for about X amount of dollars. Is kind of, hidden right now, but they're slated to make about 350 mil from this current deal, with this 11-year deal, and it includes House of Highlights and Bleacher Report. So they're gonna have international distribution to all the highlights around the league.
I think TNT owns Bleacher Report.
Yeah, they do, but now all these apps, they have the licensing to produce content for the NBA on an international level, and I'm pretty sure all this extends to the HBO. Wait, what is it? The Max app, not the HBO, but the Max
HBO
app.
Max.
Yeah, nah.
Well, it's the same thing. They rebranded Max.
Yeah, it's just Max now. So right now, outside the US, I guess a lot of that app is what's going to be distributing a lot of the NBA content. It's very interesting.
So it's a win for both parties. So because in the future, TNT can possibly negotiate a world where now they have a streaming service. You could possibly negotiate NBA coming back.
I wouldn't say it's a win for both parties. I think TNT sort of put themselves in a position where they're gonna they bit off a piece of the NBA's ass before this deal ends.
Yeah.
You know, they got a chunk of something, because even after it was announced that they're about to lose the deal, for them to re-sign Barkley, you could tell they was trying to leverage something, and now we're seeing what they were leveraging. And it's funny because right now everything with the streaming wars, we see Jake Paul fight Mike Tyson, and Netflix has sort of showed everyone that, hey, a streaming platform can host a global event that the whole world can watch at the same time. We never really seen that before. Like, the whole world is watching this one event on streaming. They said they had over 65 million viewers around the world, which is crazy, watching that Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight. So that right there was sort of like the test run. Okay, we can get this to work, even though the stream might have fucked up a few times. We got it to work. We have proof of concept. Now they're gonna get Beyonce and the NFL Christmas collab. You see the play that they're sort of making. They want to be, it's not just Netflix, but ESPN, NBC. They all kind of want to be the king of when it comes to streaming. They want to be like the sports king. They're all fighting for that real estate, and that's why I said, like, this deal is kind of ESPN's leverage, because they're gonna launch their own app next year, their own direct to consumer, their own version of Netflix. I don't know what ESPN is gonna call it, but it has to have, you know, it's gonna have Stephen A. Smith. Hopefully, it's gonna have Pat McAfee. It's gonna have Inside the NBA. So you see where they're starting to put their chips together to kind of create their own Netflix for sports. Say that again.
They're buying their own. They're like, they're just renting out IPs at this point, or they're just trying to get IPs to like put their their content in their platform. That's what it is.
Yeah. And
for them, it's like, we're not giving up a lot of money. Like, we're giving up money overhead, but we're not paying you monthly, right? So it's for ESPN, you know, that's always been the problem, right? They overpay for talent. Now you just overpay for the whole show and have them distributed from what you pay them.
Correct. And it's crazy because even with ESPN getting the Inside NBA deal, they also TNT also made ESPN give up some of their Big 12 college football games and some of the basketball games for college basketball. So they kind of, like I said, they took a piece out of ESPN's ass, but it's probably in collaboration with the NBA, just trying to find a middle ground to make everyone happy. But like I said, this is weird, like the way ESPN is licensing content from a rival company, because even it just blurs so many lines. Because you could look at Pat McAfee's deal, right? Pat McAfee has so much leverage in his deal that he continuously calls out ESPN live on their own network. This is where this shit get crazy, man. He continuously calls them out live anytime they do some funny shit, because he has just so much fucking leverage. You're gonna hear Pat McAfee basically call out ESPN for the way they're not using the Twitter platform to actually promote some of his shows, or just like him being on College Game Day. Like, it's crazy. Like, we've never seen this before. Like, someone just calling out a mega company like ESPN, and there's really nothing ESPN could even do about it. Again,
no, they just have to eat shit. And
they gotta eat it, because again, they need him, because they're gonna launch their own direct to consumer app. And if that shit does not work, man, ESPN could slowly begin to bleed out, because every single year the cable bundle, there's less and less subscribers. It's going down year after year. So that's why
has the Disney bundle really helped them, or no?
No, nothing in streaming could ever help them on the level of the cable bundle. Nothing. It's gonna take years.
But you know what I'm talking about, right? The Hulu, ESPN, Disney bundle that's been like, that they ran with during COVID.
Yeah, but it's not profitable enough. Because think about what they were doing before with the cable bundle. They're basically charging your grandma extra money on her bill for a package that she's never gonna use. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, these channels know they'll never reach back to those heights.
They can, but they're gonna have to find a way within streaming, because remember, they're building their own platforms and they're maintaining it now.
Bro, I disagree, man. I think with the way like TV, like the way entertainment is, who gives a fuck about TV at this point?
Right, but right now streaming has not proven to be profitable. It's only really profitable for Netflix, and they have years into the game. But all these little companies like Peacock,
their grandfather
NBC,
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're trying to figure it out, but they're shelling out a lot of money trying to figure it out. Streaming is not
Yeah.
profitable, not yet. The only company that's really profitable for is Netflix. It's not
Yeah.
profitable for Disney standalone. All these other companies, Universal, all these movie studios that try to come out with their own app, has not been profitable for any of these
And you know,
companies.
Disney came in very arrogant when they entered the streaming business.
Yeah, because they thought that whole legacy card would work
Yeah.
under streaming, but streaming is a different interaction with the audience. It's a different interaction versus traditional television. That's why Pat McAfee translates. Like
You know what it?
wait, hold on. Any person that comes in and actually could bring in an audience is valuable. To put like a high price anchor, TV anchor that doesn't really have an audience, it does not make
Yeah.
any sense anymore.
You know, one thing it is like people only play to the nostalgia factor too for like a week. People always care about new content, right? So if you're not producing, nobody gives a shit.
True, but ESPN, how very corporate and structured they are, it doesn't really translate well when it comes to streaming. It translates perfect on cable television because think about it, you flip a channel, right? You have no power within that channel to change the programming, right? Because they're in control. They have that time slot. But only thing you could do is go to the next channel. You can completely get out of that network. See, with streaming is not like that. Streaming, you click on the app. There's hundreds of movies, documentaries. There's hundreds of things on these apps.
Unlimited access to whatever you want.
Yeah, so it's a complete different interaction. It's a complete different ball game, and you're really gonna have to produce things that grab people's attention. You can't just put the suit and tie Sports Center guy on and expect to, maintain attention span for like a whole hour. It's just not gonna work. But again, here's Pat McAfee showing you the leverage that he has over ESPN. Watch him talk shit on the air, basically calling out the way ESPN does business. Just check it out.
Games are happening. So I go to X. I'm like, all right, what's going on? Well, let me go to the college football account. This should have me.
They'll tell me.
Nothing. Not a single activity. So then I'm like, well, why would that be the case? So then ESPN's actual account puts out the list, puts out the whole thing. I'm like, thank you, ESPN account. But shouldn't the college football account be doing that? Shouldn't that be something?
Think.
Yeah, definitely.
Shouldn't that be just like a one-stop shop for everything that's going on, especially in this brand new time? You would think it'd be the case. So hopefully that takes place. I think people running that have no idea what they're doing.
Sure.
But hopefully, inevitably, that'll change.
Or even like highlights. I'm watching a big college game on ESPN. You watch NFL games, you watch NBA, you watch, hey, as soon as something happens, touchdown happens, sack, interception, I can go right to the account, see it, maybe post it myself. None of it.
What about the storylines, too? Like storylines like, hey, Georgia, this is a must-win game.
Yeah.
You would think maybe... No, nothing.
Hell are they doing?
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. It's 3 million followers, too. That's a pretty big...
It's a big
massive.
It's pretty big. At some point, it had to have something, right? Because people don't just follow that for no reason.
I mean, nobody's
never
probably on X. Who's using X these days?
Yeah, I guess that's
dying platform.
Oh, yeah, I remember that a couple years ago. I was given a full speech by somebody at ESPN about how we're not using Twitter anymore. Okay? Nobody's on it. And they started putting these numbers up. Look how many people are on YouTube. Yeah. I'm like, well, you can't just take every Google search number and put that in there. Yep, that's who's on it.
Yes, you can.
Look how many people are on Facebook and Instagram. Okay, so every human that has an account, okay, you're going to compete that against Twitter, of course. And then look at TikTok's rise, and look how many little. And Elon bought it. This thing ain't even going to exist on Monday, so don't even do it. It's like, did that one win the presidency? Did this one over here? Did this one? Does this one kind of have a little bit of say, maybe? And do people get all their news from this particular app? I think so. So maybe a little bit more of activity there from ESPN, especially if you're going to own all the rights
Yeah.
to the playoffs.
All the biggest games.
If you're going to spend billions of dollars on this brand new playoff, maybe there should be a vehicle of information on your phone that people can just go to very easily and see it all. But what will we know?
Wow. Have we ever seen that before, man? This guy is straight up calling them out right on live on their own network, and they're paying him.
Yeah, bro. He right, man. I can't lie. What's right is right. He was right. He was ahead of the curve on Twitter. It seemed like ESPN themselves wanted to play baby gloves when they could have reached a bigger audience.
Correct. And there's also politics with ESPN because, like he said, they're trying to say that that all of a sudden they're trying to say basically all of a sudden Twitter is not relevant anymore because Elon bought it. And I've been noticing a lot with the mainstream media platforms, there's this concerted effort to say Twitter is no longer relevant. We're on this platform now. We're on Blue Sky. We're on Threads. There's like this concerted effort from all the big mainstream publishers to discredit Twitter. And it's crazy. It's almost like they're trying to convince the audience to leave the platform. We've never seen this before. Like not only ESPN is trying to come up with their own direct to consumer app, they're sort of also at the same time in a war with Twitter, especially Elon Musk. It's almost like, I don't know if it's a political thing that's going on, but there's a lot of mainstream media outlets that are trying to downplay Twitter's relevance. This is a very
just won
strange
an
thing.
election too, man.
Yeah, it basically did. And like Pat said, why are these guys ignoring this platform? There's a concerted effort. And especially, have you heard of Blue Sky?
No.
Blue Sky. Yeah, Blue Sky is an app right now that a lot of media, I would say a lot of the beat writers, they're heavily promoting it. I don't know, I've never seen this before. They're all promoting it at the same time. They're trying to say it's better. They're trying to downgrade Twitter, especially after the election. They're trying to downgrade Twitter or downgrade X since Elon bought it. And it's like a concerted effort. It's like you can tell when something's planned. Everyone just happens to talk about something at the same time. It's off. It's off. But again, ESPN, they gotta learn how to cater to their audience. They gotta learn how to cater to their audience.
I just looked it up. It has the same interface as Twitter.
It does, but it's almost like every NBA beat writer, all of a sudden, within the last few, I would say, ever since Trump won the election, there's like a concerted effort to move everyone off that. They all promote either Threads or they say, oh, we don't like the interactions on. All of a sudden, they're downgrading X at the same time. It just looks weird. It looks weird.
Man, I don't want to come off as like this weird conservative, like bullshit, whatever, but it's for sure a lot of politics that play into why they made that decision.
Yeah. And it's funny seeing Pat talk about it here, how ESPN even had a meeting talking about, hey, we're not on X anymore. X has become almost like a, we're red, they're blue. Like, it's a weird thing, but at the same time, ESPN, if they want to go direct to consumer, you have to cater to the audience and where they're at. You can't just alienate platforms on beliefs. That's just not gonna work in the streaming world.
I mean, in general, bro, dude, like let's be real right now. Like, holy shit, I can't believe you have to say this, but bro, like Twitter is a diverse voice in general.
Yeah, it is right now. It is. It does have some shaky spots like any other platform, but at the same time, people are not getting kicked off the platform by just saying something light, because there's a lot of examples of people saying things extreme, then they remain on the platform, but somebody would say something kind of in the middle and they'll get kicked off. So it's always been inconsistent no matter what platform, but especially on Twitter ever since the pandemic in 2020, it's been kind of iffy. But just going back to this though, it shows you that the leverage has completely changed at ESPN. You got Stephen A. Smith negotiating his contract live on air. Like, kind of not even live on ESPN's air. They're just live in general. Stephen A. Smith has been negotiating his contract in public for a good minute now. You know what I mean? He's saying the amount he should make. He should be the highest paid person. He said, hell, I might go on into late night television. I might get into politics. Like, we've never seen. ESPN has lost complete leverage over their own talent. And this deal with TNT getting the Inside NBA, possibly getting a panel of funny, guys like Charles Barkley, Shaq, they can technically talk shit about ESPN live on their own network, and there's really nothing they could do about it. There's really nothing. They need that show going into streaming. Next
100%.
Yeah, next fall, ESPN going in direct to consumer with their own app. That shit it's such a big play. That shit has to work.
You think they're gonna bring back my boy Skip Bayless?
Hell, who knows? Who knows? If the thing is now, whoever they bring back, they have to garner an audience. You can't just show up and think they're gonna pay you millions of dollars and then your numbers, it doesn't show that you actually bought into an audience to the app.
Bro.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta think, man. That's home.
It is home, but the business doesn't work like that anymore.
Yeah.
The business does not,
Like-
like even CNN, they're thinking about letting go of legacy analysts because they don't bring in any numbers.
That is true, but I mean, the thing is, I don't want to like. The thing is, Skip Bayless is in his own league when it comes to personality. Like that guy was personality in ESPN before we talked about personalities, you know?
Yeah, he is, but he might be a dying breed. Even though he is an innovator, Skip is definitely an innovator in the space.
He's brilliant.
He's brilliant, but at the end of the day, he's gonna have to translate. There is no you're a legacy guy like what's the legacy guy that used to work at ESPN? The football guy, Boomer. He used to go like back.
Yeah.
That they can't bring that guy on, even though he's legendary. He's a legendary voice on ESPN. If he does not bring in numbers and bring in an audience, he does not work for the business. That's how the business works now. You could be a legendary personality, but they can't just put on a random person in front of an audience on streaming and expect it to translate to numbers. That person is actually gonna have to already bring in an audience. That's why you see Skip Bayless have his own YouTube show. Shannon Sharp, they bought in. He has his own shows with FS1. They're bringing in people who already have an audience. That's the business they're in now. And it shows you the inside the NBA, they want to bring in that audience. Hey, people love your show over there. We're willing to overlook that TNT is our competition. We're willing to work with them now.
Yeah.
Like this is a very, like I said, this is a very unique space and time right now, man. There's a lot going on with these deals. These deals kind of expose a lot of different things, man. It's kind of crazy. And just seeing Netflix, the power that they have with the Jake Paul and Tyson fight. Again, they brought over 65 million people from around the world to watch one event at the same time, man. That is crazy.
Yeah, dude. That event. You watched it, by the way?
Nah, I heard about it. Even though the event sounds like it was shit, at the end of the day, it proved what streaming, how powerful it could be.
Bro, it was bound to be shit, but the thing is, you got two of the biggest names in boxing. Mike Tyson, obviously a big name, and Jake Paul, he's been an influencer for what, a decade now?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was bound to
Again, yep.
it was bound to blow up the internet.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely did. Netflix couldn't even keep up with the streaming. But now, what's even possibly could be bigger than that is the NFL Christmas with Beyonce. That's their next test in this whole live streaming phase. They're gonna have to try to make sure that they don't have the same hiccups as the Tyson Jake Paul fight for the Beyonce NFL Christmas. That ratings for that is gonna be through the roof.
Can I be honest? I think NBA on Christmas is dead.
Yeah, like the NFL, I'm not gonna lie, man. When I heard that Beyonce announcement, oh man, I was like, wow. They basically took Christmas, man.
They took Christmas from basketball.
Yeah, and the reason why they took Christmas because they're gonna have an influx of casuals. Like that's really the main audience. You're always gonna have the loyal following of whoever follows the sport, but the influx of casuals is what gets you over the top. And the Beyonce thing and the Taylor Swift thing, that gets the NFL over the top, man. You gotta
it's
have
gonna
the
be their
casuals
second
in
biggest
there.
event. It's gonna be their second biggest event after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, like
And they're going for it.
Because in the NBA we're always hearing about the casuals. Like people are annoyed by the casuals, but the casuals is what makes a sport popular.
Yep.
The influx of
It
them.
needs to be a cultural phenomenon.
Yep.
If it's not a cultural phenomenon, nobody cares.
Exactly. And Beyonce with the NFL on Christmas on Netflix is going to get a global audience from around the world, man. That is hard to compete with. That is hard
100%.
to compete with. Yeah, so yeah, the landscape is definitely changing media. Stephen A. Smith, this is gonna be interesting. I'm not sure if they renewed his contract, but it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out, man. Because that guy is already walking around like, like he's the show, and he knows it. He really is. He has all the leverage. He has all the leverage, man. I wouldn't be shocked if Stephen A. Smith ends up getting paid like 30 mil a year. Like he could make like NFL money. Like as if he's like on a max deal as an NBA player. Like it's crazy, man. The way the landscape has changed, it is crazy. ESPN can actually make more money than they ever did with cable if they get their streaming app launched correctly. If it works out well, they're gonna make way more money.
Yes.
But if it strikes out, man, that could be the beginning end of that network, man. Seriously. Remember how we was talking about when the season had started, the middle of the pack in the Western Conference, the Clippers, the Kings, the Lakers, that middle tier. It's a nice little Royal Rumble, man. It's a nice little Royal Rumble. Who's gonna get out of there?
And it's showing real fast. So a lot of teams right now, they better hope they don't get injured at the wrong time.
Yeah, I mean, even the standings so far, just early on,
Yeah.
you got the Warriors on top, which no one expected that. The Warriors, Suns, I would say Clippers, Kings, they were all supposed to be in that middle pack, but now that middle pack is starting to look a little different. You got you got the Memphis Grizzlies in there, you got the Houston Rockets in there, which you did not expect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then you got the legacy teams. You got the Denver Nuggets. Yeah.
And then because, the T-Wolves are still trying to figure it out, now they're in that middle pack. I mean, it's still early, but right now, these are the teams that are in the middle. And then Denver Nuggets dealing with injuries, Murray not performing as well. Now that middle tier looks a lot different. It looks a lot different right now.
Did you see Julius Randle's
game winner?
That was so cold.
Yeah, I mean, Julius could do that. He's done that before with the Knicks in Miami.
I know.
Like
I love Julius.
Yeah, big Juju, man. He could do some damage, but just like the Knicks, the T-Wolves are kind of trying to figure it out. You got a new roster. Like this is gonna be an ongoing process throughout the whole season.
Most importantly, a new second man.
Yeah, man. Guys gonna have to try to build that chemistry, go on the road, play a little poker with each other, kind of go through hard times, and then kind of build up that camaraderie. So it's gonna be a long grind for a lot of these teams. It wouldn't shock me if the T-Wolves had a worse record this season. If I was a gambling man, I'll put my money on that. I'm not saying they're gonna be bad, but I'm saying like they might end up being a 4th seed this year or a 5th seed. They might get hot right before the playoffs start, which is really that would be a lot better than getting hot too early and then cooling down.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would be a pain in the ass for them.
But it's natural. It's for them to kind of figure it out. Like just like a lot of these teams, man. The guys got to figure out the chemistry and then fine tune it as the season goes along. Same thing for the Dallas Mavericks. Like right now, they're 11. They're the 11th seed. They're 7-7. They're trying to figure it out. Kyrie's been in his bag the whole early portion of the season. It's just, fitting in with Clay, fitting in with, let Luka. I don't know what the fuck is going on with Luka, but, it's still early. He's still trying to figure it out. What is going on with Luka, by the way?
For all the slander Zion faces about his weight, Luka does not face the same slander despite him coming overweight to start off the season almost every other year.
Hold on, is Luka? Does Luka have like a? Is he trying to troll us, man? I swear to God, when he came in this season, he was in shape. Are they trolling us?
The guy looks fat, bro. When you look at his recent games, bro.
Yeah, it's like I could have swore in September I saw he was in great shape.
Yeah,
we've talked about that, and all of a sudden I'm looking at him now. It's almost like that meme that's going around, like Luka in the beginning, and then Luka in certain portions of the season looks like Ricky Gervais.
Bro, the guy ate a Big Mac or something before the season started. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he didn't look like that in September.
Yeah,
he actually came in. He was lean. He was lean for Luka, man. He was, cause like I know he did not come back out of shape, especially after the finals, because he got exposed in that game 3 when they went down 3-0.
Boston ran him off the floor.
Yeah, that game 3 that exposed him. Like, yo, bro, you gotta get into a better defensive situation, man, because you fucking this up. Like, that series should have been a lot closer than what it was.
Bro, the problem with Luka, bro, and the problem with all these players, I think Luka, just in general, is when your player is so ball dominant, he has no real reason to really get in shape. Like, why should Luka get in shape when the ball is in his hands 99.9% of the game?
You would think that's a reason to get in shape.
I mean, dude, like when the ball is in your hands that many times, you're not expected to play off ball. You're not really expected to run the player off the floor. You're playing at your own pace, one-on-one pace. You could run the shot clock until you find your best shot.
Yeah, I mean, they lost against the Suns. Then they lost in that
Yeah.
road trip against the Jazz, the Warriors, the Nuggets, and all those came down to like a one possession score, man. Like that's a rough start, man. Luka's shooting 41% from the field, 33% from threes. You know, again, Kyrie is cooking. Kyrie's shooting like 55%.
Yeah, Kyrie always cooks, man. It just with him is always injuries.
But that play against the Jazz where Luka just stood there. And
The Jason Collins cut?
yeah,
Oh, that was horrible.
and here's the problem I have with the Mavs. They're making
Yeah.
excuses for him. They're making excuses for him. They said that, oh, it was a miscommunication.
Yeah.
Yo,
It wasn't even a complex defensive. It wasn't even a complex offensive scheme by Will Hardy.
Yep.
It was simple. Like you just ran to the basket.
And the Jazz are a team that's trying to tank. They're not trying to win games.
No, fuck no, bro. They were probably upset that they won a game. If you're the front office of Utah, if you're Danny Ainge, you're like, what the fuck is this?
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, and
And
here's
it-
my issue. Mark Cuban, when Luka first came along, because you know that's Mark Cuban's baby, he
Yep.
kind of created this culture around Luka that's kind of, I don't want to say he's babying him, but they gave him way too much leverage, you know, when he first came through. And it's crazy, man. I still see the same babying. It's
Yeah.
almost like it's nobody's calling them out, man. It's too much soft blows. Even Jason Kidd, man, he's a champion. You know, a fucking
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, Hall of Famer, many-time All-Star. He has enough gravitas
Yeah.
to call him out, man. He has enough say so. He's been in the
I mean-
league. He's put in work, man. J Kidd got enough gravitas to say something or call out Luka, man. He has enough.
Yeah.
And J Kidd has been babying him.
I
I'm not
think,
gonna lie, he's been babying him at times.
I put the Dallas Mavericks, right? They're in a 4-game losing streak. We saw them lose to the Warriors, Jazz, Suns, and Nuggets. I think Jason Kidd, Cage stated after Tuesday's narrow NBA Cup loss to Golden State, in each of the last 3 games, we've turned it over and struggled with rebounds in crucial moments. I mean, that just goes to your franchise player who's one of the best rebounders for his positions and one of the best playmakers on his team, bro. The ball is so much in his hands. It's bound to get a lot of turnovers. As a team, it feels like it's critiquing Giannis, it's critiquing Luka, but he's not directly critiquing Luka, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but also with his teammates, it's like you said, Luka is so ball dominant. Is his teammates? They're really guessing when they're gonna get that shit. They really don't
Yeah.
know. They really don't know.
Exactly.
And that's the problem with the whole like LeBron James, because they all got the same play style. LeBron, James Harden, Luka. That
Yeah.
play style, it kind of hits a wall sometimes. But
You
but
hit-
there is a sweet spot with that play style, but sometimes it does hit a wall.
The thing is, bro, you're bound to burn out in the playoffs with that play style. Like, imagine you're running 100 games with the same exact play style, right? It gets kind of difficult when the games are much more slower.
Actually, not. It benefits them. It benefits them when their chemistry is right. Again, they got a bunch of new guys
Bro.
on this team. They're one of the teams that we were talking about earlier. We said what, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Knicks, the Mavericks. There were teams that were up there contending at a high level.
I disagree,
last
though.
year,
I-
and now they have different players. We gotta give him a little grace to kind of get acclimated here.
I disagree, though. I don't think the one-on-one ball is sustainable, bro.
No, it's not. But like again, last season we saw a nice sweet spot. Kyrie
Yeah.
was cooking. What's his name? They
PJ
integrated
Washington.
PJ. Yes, they integrated
He became the
PJ.
third option.
Yeah, and then Lively was nice on that role as the role man, making nice decisions.
Yeah.
In that high post area, like it wasn't bad, man. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It could work, especially Luka. Luka makes great decisions, unlike James Harden. He makes great decisions in crunch time situations. Like he's way more efficient, and it's almost like the moment is not too big for him. That's the difference
Yeah.
between him and Harden. The moment is not too big for him. Harden seems like under certain moments he can crumble. The way he possesses the ball, things get sloppy. The shot selection is questionable. He might overthink himself. Chris Paul kind of suffers from that, overthinking himself in crunch time situations. So, yeah, these things are kind of. I'm gonna give the Mavs again. The Mavs, T-Wolves, the Knicks, all these teams with new players. You kind of got to give them grace. You got to give them grace.
We're only 15 games in, so of course they have a lot of breathing room.
Yeah,
a lot of things can change. But as of right now, with Dallas Mavericks, bro, it isn't looking too hot. I think it's kind of a repeated thing with Luka sometimes, where he kind of comes in out of shape. And the Mavericks kind of been inconsistent with how their seasons go. They haven't had much of a consistent season under Luka Doncic, bro. You look at early years with the Clippers, obviously, that was, it took time for them to kind of get it together. But then you also look at their time with one of the Western Conference Finals, missing the playoffs. Now you're back to the championship. So they do need to build a little bit of consistency when it comes to winning.
Now, hold on. I'll have a little pushback with the Luka not being in shape. I'm telling you, something must have happened because he did not look like that. I swear to God, we're getting memed with the cameras because Luka came in September in shape.
Yeah.
Like he came in shape. I swear to God, we're getting. This got to be like some sort of gotcha moment or something. Like he must be wearing the James Harden, I don't know, skinny suit. I don't know what's going on because they fooled me. I was like, man, Luka's in good shape. And then all of a sudden I'm looking at him now. I'm like, man, that Ricky Gervais meme is looking real.
Like I'm watching his highlights from his rookie year. Luka, he wasn't a crazy athlete, but damn. Like he looked a lot better in shape finishing around the rim.
Yeah. But he did. But his size, I don't want to say like Zion. His size does have an advantage because he takes guys to the post.
Yeah, he does. But he's he's not really relying on athleticism either.
He's not, but that size helps him drag guys down because that's the problem, man. On these switches, this guy, he can drag you down to the post. Yeah. Something that James Harden don't have no post game like that.
But with Luka, let's be honest, we don't really talk regular season with him. Well, you know what? Yeah, we don't. But when it comes to the playoffs, him being fat, we'll give him a lot of hard times, bro.
Man, it's crazy. I can't really we got to touch back on this because I'm telling you, something happened to Luka this season. Where
you think maybe injuries or something that maybe caused this?
Yeah, I think something happened because something is not right for him. I don't want to say to look like this, but he looks bloated. Like he looks D Wade in the Cleveland Cavaliers bloated.
Yeah,
like that means like the player's not healthy, man. The player's not like D Wade. I think that last year LeBron was in Miami. D Wade was bloated.
His face was bloated. Like
he wasn't healthy.
But it was public knowledge that he was never really healthy after like 2012, 2013, or 2012 mostly.
D Wade?
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, that NBA Finals in 2014, he looked bloated.
He was awful. But also, D Wade started his career, like, I think, up until like 2008 to like 2010. He dealt with a lot of injuries too.
Yeah, it's tough, man. But hey, it's still early. It's funny, man, with the Rockets right now. Remember how we were saying before with Jabari?
Yeah.
Not having enough breathing room to actually develop because at the same time they have veterans on the team. They have a bunch of young guys mixed in. So it's just not enough breathing room for someone to get up enough shots, enough, breathing room to make mistakes. And Ume seems like he's kind of focused on veterans and getting, better, especially the way they constructed this team. There's not a lot of player options. There's a lot of team options. So everyone's sort of tradable. And we're always hearing rumors of them trying to get Durant. They're curious about Giannis. But recently, because of their success, right now they're 10-4. They won 5 straight. And their defense is excellent right now. We're hearing them say that they're not really trying to trade their young core, which I think is bullshit.
Yeah.
I think that's cap. I think they're lying about that, man. None of their moves have said that they're not trying to trade. Yeah, they gave Jaylen Green a short-term contract, which makes him very tradable. Especially if you look at rookies coming off of extensions that were short, they pretty much all got traded at some point. It's just all their moves have said that, hey, they're setting up their guys to be flexible to get traded for like a bigger piece. But now they're saying, oh, we're none of these guys, they're untouchable. Like, I think they're putting a little sauce on it.
The Rockets want to become like Tillman Fredette isn't known to be very patient when it comes to the front office general manager, right? Mm-hmm. For him, for sure, he wants to make moves that gets Rockets selling, because he's more of an entertainment guy. Let's be honest. Like you live in Houston, man. A lot of what he does is a lot of entertainment, along with like dining, restaurants, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
For him, his motivation is, how can I get people to sit down and watch our games?
Correct. They got a ton of guys on team friendly deals again. Fred VanVleet team option.
Yeah.
Jabari Smith Jr. He's still under the rookie scale contract, so it's nothing but team options on him.
Yeah.
Same thing for men. Same thing for Jeff Green, team option.
I think, is Jeff on his final year contract?
Yeah,
or no?
he's on his final year, and it's also a team option.
Yeah.
So it was a team option for that year, and then Şengün, now he's locked in. He's pretty much the only one that's really locked in. Jaylen Green does have a player option, but he's on a short-term deal, which makes his contract is pretty much favorable, especially going in with the new CBA. Like another team, he's a good trade asset. They lined up his contract to be a great trade asset. So for them to say none of their young guys are available, I find that very hard to believe. Very hard to believe.
Everyone is available until proven otherwise.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. I'm just looking
That's
at
how they're running it.
Yeah, I'm looking at their contracts. Like, Houston right now, they have enough money to get another guy. Like, they could trade a couple pieces away to get a guy. And even Reed Shepherd, how are they gonna find minutes for all these young assets, man? It's just too many on this team.
They said Kev Whitmore back to the G League, and the guy looks like an NBA player.
Yeah. They got they're probably gonna lose Jayshawn Tate.
Yeah.
It looks like they're gonna
he's
lose
28,
him.
29. It's about to happen.
Yeah, he's 29. Okay, yeah, so he's younger. Steven Adams, he's probably gonna end up walking away for nothing. Yeah,
I could see Steven Adams getting paid for cheap.
He's already getting paid. He's getting paid 12.
Yeah, but I think he tore his Achilles, right? So not a lot of teams are gonna really pay Bang for him, anyways.
That's true. Yeah, but the Rockets, I mean, it's clear. To me, it's obvious that I don't want to say they're building up these guys to get traded, because sometimes them putting out statements like that, it's just kind of hyping up their players. Like, oh yeah, they're untouchable, and then teams. That might make a stupid GM want to say like, oh, I'm curious about this player. You know what I mean? Like they might get even more curious because of that. But to me,
build up their stock.
Yeah, all their moves has said, hey, we're gonna at some point try to package these guys.
But I think Jaylen's averaging the same amount of points he averaged last season.
Yeah, it's just too many players. There's not enough shots to go around.
And he's having a good season. I gotta give him flowers.
Yeah, he's improved his shooting. I'm shocked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when I went to the game, he made a step back 3 over OG and I think Josh Hart to seal the Knicks game. I'm just sitting there like, since when? I'm like, yo, since when he hitting a step back 3 in front of two crazy defenders. Like, yo, Dylan Brooks was hitting step back threes. I was like, what the fuck?
He's managed to lower like bad shot taking. I'll give him that, bro. Before then, I used to get so annoyed watching him take shots.
Yeah, but he was knocking them down. Matter of fact, he's kind of locked in with the Rockets. He's under a good price point, about $20 million until 2027.
Yeah.
So he's locked in at a good rate. I mean, Houston, it's weird, man. They kind of fused in two vets like Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks. I don't know if they're gonna pick up Fred's contract for next season, but they got way too many guys. They got Reed Shepherd, the third overall
Way too many
pick.
chefs in the kitchen.
Yeah, they got him just coming off the bench, third overall pick. And matter of fact, I think he was probably he probably was the best standout in summer league.
Summer league.
And they got him just coming off the bench off rip.
Barely, he's barely coming off the bench. He's not even getting like consistent minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Eason, who knows what they're gonna do with him?
Oh, they're paying Tar Eason.
Yeah, that's interesting. Eason and Amen Thompson. So what they're gonna do? They're gonna have two players that don't really shoot.
Yeah.
Out there.
Yeah, those guys are probably like their highest potential guys too. Tar Eason and Amen Thompson, especially Amen Thompson.
Yo, if Amen could develop a jump shot, holy shit, those guys could be unstoppable.
I think Tar Eason could be like a Draymond type player too.
Yeah. Yo, Draymond is so underrated, man. Like, people don't really understand. Like, that guy is a Hall of Famer, man. Hall of Fame. Like, when you think about the Warriors, like me, I can't imagine. You see how Clay left the Warriors? If Draymond had left, that team is done. It's just Steph. Steph would just been shooting forever, but that team would have been cooked. Like, Draymond is way more important. Way more important.
That's someone I could see Tar Eason way more important than Clay.
Yeah, he's way he's way more important than Clay. Like, as of right now, because the way Clay with the injury.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just he's way more important, man. Like, he's really the quarterback of this whole shit, man. Like, you see the way their defense is playing.
Oh yeah, he's anchoring great defense. He knows how to really play well with Steph.
Yeah, man, it's like, damn, Draymond is really underrated. Like, and that's my issue with the stats. Like, it's not gonna show, but when you when you're watching, you're just like, yeah, that guy. There is no Warriors dynasty. He's part of it. He's as big. He's, of course, everything is surrounded by Clay. I mean, by Steph. Yeah, everything is built around him. But man, you need Draymond in there, man, with the enforcer, the defense, just the presence. You need Draymond in there,
bro. Just look at Steph's stats if you don't believe in Draymond's greatness, honestly speaking. He opens the floor a lot for him, bro, and he anchors a lot of the defenses for Steph. Mm-hmm. Draymond, he has a lot of his flaws. I think sometimes he could be really underrated and sometimes really overrated. But Draymond, he's incredible, bro. If Tar Eason develops to become the next Draymond Green, the Rockets are in luck. Like, I could see if he becomes the next Draymond Green, like, he might be the one most likely to be kept over like Jaylen Green or Amen Thompson or any of the Reed Shepherd, any other young guys, you know?
Yeah. And you know what's so funny with Draymond? If he wasn't so fucking emotional, I would say that, yo, he's definitely going to be an NBA coach. I would say that.
But I think that's what makes Draymond.
Yeah, like, but you know, you never know. Like, when guys get older, they kind of change a little bit. You never know. It wouldn't shock me if Draymond, you know, kind of, you know, tampers down some of that energy, and then he ends up being like a Hall of Fame coach. Like, it wouldn't shock me. Like, that's how good he is, man. Like, people don't really understand. He sees the game way different. Like, that decision making is crazy. Like,
his decision making, his anchoring of the defense.
Yeah, just reading everything on the floor. Just really fucking underrated.
A difference maker, you know? He doesn't need to score a basket to be a difference maker.
Facts. Like, but if Draymond could kind of add a little bit of poise, because his personality right now, man, I don't know if it's because he's still in the league. If he was able to coach right now, I would say he would choke out a player.
100%.
Yeah, but you never know when guys might leave the league and kind of tamper down a little bit. then he could
You can
become
get a lot more
coach.
mature.
Yeah.
You know, you're not in the court all the time. You're 40, 50. You're like, I don't got the energy anymore.
Yeah, like then I could see Draymond becoming a Hall of Fame. Like I don't want to say it wouldn't shock me if he became like years down the line became like a
Yeah.
Popovich type coach. It wouldn't shock me, bro. It wouldn't shock me at all, because he does have that, but it's just the temperament.
Yeah.
Like, could he have like a coach's temperament? Because he has he kind of has like the mold, like, because you know how
Yeah.
coaches that kind of are like late first round picks or late, second round picks, they kind of fought their way into the league. They had to learn the game on every different level, every little crevice.
Look at it like a coach's perspective, everything, you know?
They become the best coaches, and Draymond does have that. Draymond does have that, like, archetype. Like Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson was like not the best player, but he played on a championship team, and there's a lot of nuances in the game he had to like study to stay and fight in the league.
Phil was a hustle player in his whole career.
Yeah.
Playing career, yes.
Same thing for like what makes Jalen Brunson so good is that his pops had to fight to stay in the league year after year for like 11 years straight. He jumped from team to team, so his dad had to learn every little corner of the game, every little advantage, and he passed that on to him. And you see the same thing play out with Tyronn Lue. Tyronn Lue was the same way, jumping from team to team, and now he's a really good head coach because he had to fight to stay into the league.
Same with Joe Bryant and his son Kobe.
Yeah. Those tend to be the best. The journeymen that a lot of fans kind of overlook, those tend to be the guys who understand the game on a whole nother level, because there's like a whole mental thing that comes with it. It's like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna be in the league next year. I gotta fight to learn this. I gotta take advantage of this small little thing that everyone's overlooking. I gotta learn this skill, this be positioned here. They oh my God, they know a lot of nuances. Yeah. They know a lot of nuances of the game. So they know how to talk to the star player, and they know how to talk to the 15th man on the bench. Like they literally earn the respect from top to bottom. Cause it's like, okay, coach knows what he's talking about. He fought his way into the league for 11 years.
Yep.
And that's not easy. There's a lot of, we got to move the family here. We got to move the family there. I don't know if a team's going to pick me up. There's a lot of that comes with it. So
10-day contracts.
Yeah. So these guys, they tend to get overlooked. I'm surprised no one has never made a documentary on these type of players.
The fans themselves don't really care. I think Patrick Beverley's another guy you could bring up in that conversation too.
Yeah, a guy like Pat Bev.
Yeah. PJ Tucker.
Yeah, PJ. Oh yeah, PJ's another guy.
Yeah, because he's been around the league for a long time.
Yeah, it's funny with PJ. He actually got in the league, then he got out of the league. He had to go to Europe.
Yeah.
And then he got back in the league. And then he became a journeyman again. Like that's kind of tough.
Oh, his story, but dude, he became like a very good role player, like in his peak in Houston, Milwaukee, Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, it's
Phoenix Suns. Yeah, he had a good run.
Yeah, PJ, man, he really went through it. What they call him? The drip god?
Yeah. Oh yeah, with all the shoes and stuff.
Correct. Yeah, the drip god, PJ.
Oh, yeah, because he changed him every quarter. Like, he's another guy you could bring up in that conversation. But it's crazy, man, how he went from a 15-man to being, what, the fourth or fifth or sixth best player on the championship team?
Yeah.
Because PJ was very crucial in that championship 2021 finals run.
Yeah, matter of fact, I think I got it right here.
Like, yeah, so he's like, yeah, and then I'll see you back again in December or whenever the next date was for the make good. And, you know, like, check these boxes. That's basically what it was. And literally, and I love Mike Beasley's my brother. I love him to death. If Mike doesn't get in trouble, I don't know if I'm here right now.
Okay. Because I wanna dive into what you just said, because we've had this conversation a few times. Like, you're the 15th man.
Right.
Advice, because we can give advice to somebody, but we haven't really been in that position, and so it's hard for me to tell that guy, you know, his career is always teetering. But I've seen guys who were the 15th man who can parlay that into more years into the league, and they blow it. Why? Because they always get in their own way and their ego, and I should be playing and complaining. And so please, it's like
a lot of 15 men want to be you, bro.
Every single. No, you know what's the funny part? Most 15 guys think they're better than me for sure.
Right.
In their mind, which they should. Like guys like you should have an attitude about it, like, you know, thinking you're good.
Yeah,
right?
you need your ego.
Right. A little bit. You need it.
Yeah, but it's like your talent don't matter, bro. If you're not the top two, it's like, bro, they don't give a damn about your skill set, bro. You better rebound and screen.
Listen,
that's what exactly.
Somebody.
So
we don't give it, bro. What is you in here? Like you not shooting no transition threes, my boy.
Find
what are you
a
doing?
star and give him the ball. That's it.
They want to show their game though, like bro. And I can sit here and I can like every agent I know, every coach that's coached me, or like people want me to talk to these dudes, right? And ain't none of these dudes, most of them, like I say 95% of them, not even ready mentally to be able to do that.
Yes.
Like, you know how, like I was talking to this kid, I ain't gonna say his name, but he in the league, but he like asking me like, yo, like what tips like you could give me, boom, boom, like, you know, like I'm better than, like he like literally naming dudes on his team. He telling me he better than, first of all, I already knew he was like, that shit crazy when he started doing that. So I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Grain of salt. But I'm like, bro, he like, what can I do to be you, right? I said, go watch game 6 of 2021 finals and then come back and talk to me. I played 40 minutes. I shot the ball one time in 40 minutes.
I probably never called you back.
Like Dre, you know this, like,
oh, I know.
On a night-to-night basis, in my mind, I don't even set myself up to like, yo, I'm gonna get shot. Like, I'm gonna get off the, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I never, not one time, never, ever. But it's like a weight training exercise though, right? Like a mental, it's literally a mental exercise, bro. How can you really keep yourself locked into a game without doing the stuff that everybody, like all the stuff that's cool that's gonna be on SportsCenter? Like, like, are you really gonna be happy?
No, sometimes you sit there, but I think, or Dre, I always say like how good Dre is. I say, bro, Dre thinks about himself 10th or 11th. So do you know how good you have to be
easily
to sit here, show up, and your coach say, don't shoot it all?
Easily.
Guard the dude shooting best man, and then when he's open, give him the ball, and then, hey, bro, if you don't make 3 out of your 6 shots, bro, you're not playing next week and a half. And you know what I mean? It's like, and then why did you shoot 6 shots?
Then
you in the locker room, and they talking about this nigga. It's like, bro, I ain't got no rhythm. I ain't got no rhythm. Like, you know, it's the truth.
Like, damn, bro.
Yeah, you be mad.
I ain't touched the ball all game. Like, what you
damn, I was in the post.
You know how hard it is to hit an NBA 3 when you ain't dribbled the ball the whole quarter?
Bro.
They're like, here you go.
Bro,
shoot that.
Bro, I went seasons without making an NBA 3. So.
Listen, man. I remember having a conversation with JJ Redick. I said this on JJ Redick's show. I said, listen, the referees, I had to explain to a referee one time when he was like, man, can you please hand me the ball after it go through the hoop or at the timeout? I'm like, listen, bro, I don't know if I'm going to see the ball go through the hoop tonight. I just need to see this.
I literally got texts. I was ready to argue with ref like, bro, I ain't touched the ball all game. If they throw me this ball in the corner, I got it.
Oh, they wonder.
Bro, every time somebody shoot, I'm the first person. Every time. I may not touch the ball, bro. I play with James Harden, but I may not touch that thing, bro.
Or they be like, yo,
listen, bro,
you're such a great free throw shooter. It's like, no, I got to make all these big. I need this 8 points.
What did he say? When he made that big 3? Kobe passed me the ball. And I made the 3. Like, that was the big time. That was a big part of the finals. Like, he was like, I didn't know I was gonna get it.
And then you look at your coach, you be like, man, how the hell we having real convo? I just played 40 minutes last night when 1 rebound, you had me guarding. I mean, 1 shot, you had me guarding Devin Booker.
I'm guarding the guy.
And last week I was on KD for his hottest week of his life.
Bro, listen, dog. And I get 1 shot. Like I'm guarding the dude that's gonna shoot every time.
Yeah, straight up,
like
bro.
literally, I'm picking him up 94 feet. And I'm not touching the ball. Like, you know how you gotta really, I'm telling you. And then he tear your ass up too.
Yeah.
So you gotta
you know how league
That's
works.
why I always
you gotta,
say,
bro, you gotta trick yourself.
Yeah, that's why I always say shit. Kiss my ass. I ain't overpaid. After everything else kissed my
Man,
ass,
what?
I was abused and victimized. I was not overpaid.
Yo, you see how much of a mental fuck it could be, just even being in that situation of being a journeyman?
Yeah, 100%. Because now you have to go above and beyond to prove your value.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot that really comes with it, and like PJ said in the beginning, like the player that he was talking to, the one that wanted to be like him, he was like, bro, you're not even mentally ready for it. He's like, just talking to you, I can already tell you're not even mentally ready. But again, yeah, PJ just gave some great insight to just something that really gets overlooked in the league, man. It's just the guys fighting to kind of maintain their position. And that's why you see why these guys make the best fucking coaches.
Yeah.
We see why Phil Jackson sort of has a Zen vibe to him. Because there was a lot of mental things that came with his relationship with basketball. It just wasn't all about talent, you know what I mean?
You got to learn the little things. Because he knew Willie Reed and Walt Frazier, they're the mans in New York.
Correct. Yeah, it's you hear from the drip god himself. With Ja, what's his situation? When does he do bad?
I believe Ja had a hip injury.
Hip injury. Man, there's been a lot of injuries to start off this season. It's just
and
there's a lot of politics that come with these injuries because in the past few days we've gotten some insight into some of the situations that not every team handles injuries properly. Did you see Luol Deng, how he spoke about how he was misdiagnosed and he was trying
I didn't see this.
Yeah, Luol Deng actually spoke on him. He got misdiagnosed by the Bulls doctor and he ended up missing the playoffs for no reason. The players union in the NBA, they kind of had an issue involving him and he didn't really want to sue the NBA because he knew he would be out the league.
Yeah.
But he spoke on it. Him and Markle Fultz, they actually spoke on their situations. And I just wanted to play it real quick so we can just get some quick insight because not every team, once again, handles injuries properly. We're seeing the way the Pelicans handle Zion. It's kind of iffy. This guy gets a hamstring injury and all of a sudden they're like, oh, he's out for a game. And then the media members ask, how come he's not with the team though? And then they go, he's out indefinitely now. You know what I mean? Like it just keeps changing. We just don't know if they're handling these situations properly. Ever since he's been on the team, it's been kind of iffy with the Pelicans medical staff, as we've seen his father and his family members had posted on social media that they were having issues. But let's just hear Luol Deng real quick, kind of give some insight to his situation in Chicago.
I don't know where they just sent me to the hospital. When I got to the hospital, they diagnosed me wrong, and they ended up saying that my fever was too high and whatnot, and they ended up giving me a spinal tap surgery. What? Now, this is what happened. This is how I missed the playoffs that year. So I go and get a spinal tap, knowing that I don't know what a spinal tap is. But the doctor told me that, don't worry about it. It's just a procedure to see if you have meningitis because this is serious, whatever. Mind you, other people in the team had the flu. Anyway, they proceed and just go on with it anyway. I ended up missing the playoffs. And what happened was that year, there was a dispute going on with the NBPA and so on about me suing the Bulls because of what took place. But I knew that if I sued the Bulls, I would either not play basketball ever again in order to win the case to prove that things didn't go well and this could be a career ending. But I was the hoop. So I said, yo, I'm not suing anyone. I'm just going to hoop. I'm just going to come back. I came back that year and nothing was the same. It just felt like, every game I was given an opportunity to prove that I'm healthy. And as the year went on, like you said, I'm the leading scorer. I'm averaging almost 20 points and so on. The next thing I know is I'm traded to Cleveland. And I think I was, and I still believe that move was made really because I've played enough games to show that, I was healthy and I
was enough to play. Yeah.
Now they can't come to you no more.
That's when the team started being broken up. And one by one, after I left, you started seeing people being moved, tips being moved, and so on.
Now, that was Luol Deng talking about his situation with the Bulls. Now I'm gonna play one more. Peep Markle Fultz speak about his situation. When we're gonna peep the sentiments that he had on how Philadelphia handled his situation.
Just because I just want to hoop.
Did you feel the organization was being supportive? You feel they fed into what everybody say a little bit?
It could have been better.
It was, I had my supports and stuff like that, and I'm thankful for the Sixers organization and everything they did for me, but I don't know, it was a weird situation, you know, and like, again, I understand that it's a business, and I understand now, like, the business and in and outs of everything, so, like, again, I was just worried about, I was thankful to be able to be moved to somewhere where I had a second chance and an opportunity to grow, and they wanted to win. I wish I had a chance to help them, because I really feel like I could have helped them, win if they were patient and let me get healthy. But at the same time, I'm thankful for everything that they did for me, and everything worked out good.
Now, those are two prime examples of organizations that were kind of, I don't want to say the Bulls have a history of being, kind of gray area with the injury reports. But the 76ers have a long history with this. They did the same thing with Ben Simmons. You know what I'm saying? Even when they traded him to Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Nets thought he was ready for the playoffs. Remember when KD went up against the Boston Celtics and KD and Kyrie got swept? They thought Simmons would be ready for that, but by the time they got him, I don't know if the physical showed him something else. He was never ready. We kept on hearing he might come back for game 1 or he might come back for game 2. Game 3, and then he just never came back. And Markelle Fultz, his situation in Philly was kind of the same. So there's a lot of gray area when it comes to these like the way these franchises handle injuries going from team to team. Not every team is kind of built the same on these situations.
You're seeing the same with Zion in New Orleans too.
Yeah, Zion in New Orleans is another perfect example. But like I said before, this is a very interesting time in space with all these players having the ability to hop on platforms and kind of, I don't want to say they're telling the full truths of everything. They're kind of subtly kind of giving their hints and giving the audience a sneak peek what's going on behind the curtain. Because Markelle Fultz took a lot of criticism, like, oh, is he a bust? How come he's not playing? Luol Deng, I'm pretty sure Bulls fans... that season they had a good team. They're probably wondering why did Luol miss the rest of the playoffs? Like, cause that misdiagnosis with him just, he might have had a cold or something. That misdiagnosis ended up costing him the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, fans sometimes they sort of blame, I don't want to say they blame the player, but sometimes they're like, we need this guy. How come he's not fighting through this? Especially the way the injury reports come out. You never heard of an injury report saying the team misdiagnosed the player. You never heard that shit. It tends to kind of put all the onus on the player of why they're not making an appearance. But again, not every franchise handles injuries the same. Giannis is a Nike player. So
what is Jaylen?
Jaylen, remember, he has a beef with Nike throughout the whole summer with the Olympic situation.
Yeah.
So Giannis basically, he kind of like he did some childish shit, which Jaylen called it out. He was like, oh, I thought it was childish. So when Giannis drops 59 points, Nike actually tweets out nothing childish about him. 59 for the Greek freak. That's crazy. Nothing childish about him. 59 for the Greek freak. And then Jaylen Brown retweets it and comments, y'all energy weird. Y'all got weird energy. Like he gave him the ultimate, like there's no comeback for that.
Yeah.
But why is we've never seen this before. Like brands really going out their way to kind of troll players. We never seen this before.
Never mind. Jaylen, their beef also is that Jaylen had been with Adidas and he became a free agent during the summer. He made it clear that he did not. So Jaylen and Nike, they have this whole beef because he didn't really want to sign with Nike to begin with. I think with Jaylen Brown, he has his own performative shoe brand, 741. So it's a lot of pettiness that goes on between both those two guys or those two entities. It just seems like Jaylen Brown is punching on $1 billion, corporation.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stances Jaylen Brown has taken throughout the years that's kind of like, you know, it's not looked at on as favorable. Like we seen Ice Cube in the Big Three. He kind of went around a press run saying that the NBA was trying to sabotage their deals with sponsors. And then Jaylen Brown all of a sudden makes an appearance on the Big Three, showing them some love and support. And then, you know, the situation with Kyrie and Nike, Jaylen Brown retweeted and showed support for Kyrie and questioned Nike's morals. So
since when did Nike care about ethics?
Correct.
This is what we doing, Nike. And then there's another one. I'm on Reddit right now. I'm more inclined of following that sneaker disruptive kind of path, he said. Last fall, during an appearance on the Point Forward podcast, a lot of the deals that athletes get signed are kind of like stationary. Here it is, cutting dry. No creative control, no control over your marketing, but no input. Actually,
correct. And you know, so funny. He said a lot about Nike, the Olympics, the way that Nike, in a way, they sort of he speaks to a lot of the older players, and the older players kind of let him know that Nike kind of fucked them over in the shoe deal. They reconstruct their royalty rates, they reconstruct their rates, how much they're gonna pay them, even though they're still retroing their shoes. Like the older players are upset about the way their shoe deals are basically constructed. So he knows that that the shoe deals basically end up fucking the players over. Because Nike
do we even get signature shoes anymore, bro? I haven't seen a big Nike signature shoe in a long ass time.
Yeah, but think about it. But Nike's still selling like foam posits. That's Penny Hardaway. They're still selling Scottie Pippens. So,
but they just changed the names. Like nobody thinks of Penny Hardaway shoes anymore when it comes to foam posits. They think about the foam posits.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, like the way it was marketed, it was always marketed as foam posits, but it was marketed through Penny Hardaway. That's like it's really a Penny Hardaway
famous commercial.
Shoe. Yeah, it's really a Penny Hardaway shoe. But at the end of the day, you know, Jaylen Brown speaking on that, saying, hey, he's speaking to older players, and they're upset how Nike out of nowhere can reconstruct their royalty rates.
Yeah,
he's letting guys know, like, hey, you know, you need to rethink these shoe deals. So these are all the types of disruptive things that he kind of has with Nike. But he's actually sat down with Stephen A. Smith and he gave a little insight to his situation and some of his sentiments at Nike.
A lot of the stuff that we just talked about, I feel like delineates into the same conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll say this. In 2028, if I have to sign to Nike to increase my likelihood to play USA basketball, I'll pass.
Why?
One, I think that the essence, like you see it in our grassroots. Kids, instead of enjoying the essence of basketball, are like forced to pick a side.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at our global game in Europe is closing the gap.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that we should focus more on our development of our youth and grassroots. And I think sports, I think shoe companies should have less control over the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, and I was one of those kids. You know, I was a top player, number one. Actually, you came to one of my high school games. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I was a top player in high school, and and it was so much to deal with, Nike, Adidas, like going to an Adidas school, going to a Nike school. And the kids should just be focusing on development. And I think this has a direct correlation to what we see at the highest level, even in Olympic play. Like, politics is not synonymous with basketball. As my role as the vice president, I sit in these conversations with now who is Andre, who's our executive director.
Andre Iguodala.
And Adam Silver, who is the commissioner for the NBA, who goes back and forth about what we need and what's best for our game. So I know what corporate sponsors, what their what their pedigree is like. I know what the relationship is like. I know how those conversations go on. Anybody who thinks sports, politics are not cohesive
They operate in sync with one another.
And
Absolutely.
say, you lying to yourself. So I'll say it again, because I know it'll be a quote in 2028. If I have to sign to Nike to increase my likelihood of playing USA basketball, I'll pass.
Why do you mention Nike?
Because they're the lead sponsor for the USA basketball team.
But I'm also asking you that question is because you were once with Nike, correct?
No.
You were never with Nike?
No, Adidas.
Okay, you were with Adidas, all right. And people thought you should go with Nike, and that was not something that ended up working out. What happened with that?
I mean, no need to get into the, I don't have a problem with the industry. I do. You know, I'm lying. You know, I do.
Okay, I was going to say, go ahead, Jaylen.
I do.
All right, go ahead.
I think the industry definitely needs some new energy, some new creativity, and some new options. I think the way, you know, the shoe companies go about issuing deals and illustrating people's value in terms of IP, in terms of creative control, in terms of like how involved you are in the process, I think it needs to change. I listen to the voices of our older generation. I know players that I can name, superstars, that would tell you right now, man, they frustrated as hell. You know, their stuff can't come out when they want it to come out. They have no input or control. They was forced to renegotiate certain percentages that they think they should have more value. And they wish it was other options. So, you know, people like to use the word disruptor for me, and I really don't like it. You know,
You don't like the word disruptive? For yourself?
It comes with the territory.
Okay.
But no, because everything that I've tried to be a part of, everything that I am a part of, my thought process has always been solution-based. You know, listening, being a representing our 450, listening to what players are saying behind closed
But
doors.
some people would say solutions can be disruptive from time to time, depending on who you're dealing with.
Yes, no, you're correct. I just don't like to be called just like singularly a disruptor. I know it comes with it, but my thought process has always been solution-based, trying to create a solution for what I feel like in society, from an athlete perspective, is viewed as a problem. And that doesn't just stop at the shoe industry. The agency model, we can go more in detail. Actually, I could talk to you all day about this stuff. We have a lot of meetings with the union, which I'm happy to be involved with. I've been since I was 21 years old. So I've been 7 years now that I've been participating in the development.
You turn 28 in a couple of days.
Yeah, man, it's my it's my last 2 years in my 20s.
Right, that's right.
That sounds terrible.
It ain't terrible.
I know, but I've been a part of it for 7 years, and I've learned, you know, the ins and outs of the operational aspect of the league, the marketing approach. I learned about, you know, how the decision-making process goes, who has responsibilities, who doesn't, and how, you know, things are looked at and viewed. So, you know, I think things need to change.
I'm going to read a quote that you gave. But
Yes,
before
sir.
I read the quote that you gave, you were responding to Nike founder Phil Knight. This is in 2022, who had criticized Kyrie Irving for his quote-unquote slow-motion non-apology after sharing an anti-Semitic documentary on social media. That's for Kyrie to discuss. We don't have to revisit that at all, because there's a lot of hits that he took during COVID, from myself included, that he did not deserve. So I want to make sure I'm on the record stating that, and he and I'll have a conversation at some point. But I remember when you were communicating about Nike in response to their reaction to Kyrie, and your exact words was, "Since when does Nike care about ethics?" Now, you've never been under Nike. Like you said, you were under Adidas. Things didn't work out, but you didn't hesitate to say what you said about them.
For sure.
A, why? And B, do you not see how that can alienate a lot of businesses from wanting to do business?
Absolutely.
With you and your willingness to speak out.
I think the ones who haven't been behaving ethically, for sure. I think the ones who do, I think it actually would attract them. But as a major corporation who's huge, has a lot of under their umbrella, that always hasn't maintained the ethical approach to, you know, the decision making that they have, especially on the behalf of their signees. So being able to to see that, because like a lot of the things you stand for are public. A lot of the things you represent are public, and the messaging that you put out is public. You know, it don't take nothing but a bit of time to see what the company represents, and I think that is the part where I challenge them to do better.
All right, so there you have it. A lot that we touched on: the disruption, the reconstructing of former players' shoe deals. They don't like it. It's very unfavorable. There's a lot of things he touched base on. Now wanting to sign with Nike, if that means he has to, you know, in order to participate in the 2028 Olympics, that's a no-go for him. Yo, Jaylen Brown took a stance right here. This is a lot what we talked about earlier.
You know, one of the most interesting things I was thinking about was during Jaylen Brown's draft, the resume, they were measuring like his strengths and weaknesses. And during those strengths and weaknesses, they decided that one of his weaknesses is that he is too smart. I think this is why
which is fucking ridiculous.
They listed this because Jaylen Brown has shown much more of an independent thought process when it comes to NBA, when it comes to sports deals, and how he believes the sports deal robs younger players of actually being themselves, which is true to every extent.
Yep. As you can see, they sort of want him to be, you know, like a universal figure.
Yes.
You know, like, you know, he has to appeal, he has to toe the corporate line, play the corporate game. Him and Stephen A. Smith also touched on that, but yeah, just him playing the corporate game. Stephen A. said even he'll get more opportunities if he had done that. But everyone does it to a degree at their job, but it seems like nowadays, because a lot more opportunities are opening up for the players to be a lot more independent, they can have their own media platform to get their own narratives out. You know, they have the freedom of movement, which was led by LeBron James, taking control of their careers, going to franchises that can actually benefit them and their family first, not necessarily staying loyal to a franchise until they don't need you anymore. There's been a lot of shifts over the last, I would say, 10 plus years with technology, as well as the players kind of being awakened with the LeBron James South Beach move. It was like that itself right there was like sort of an awakening where players were like, okay, I'm going to take control of my career. And now it's the norm. It's the norm pretty much.
Now it's above that. Now it's my business decisions.
Correct. It's so much the norm now that the new CBA and the owners kind of constructed it this way where they kind of lock up players' mobility. If they want to be mobile, they're going to have to take major pay cuts. That's why we barely see any free agents now.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's, you know, interesting stuff with Jaylen. Now, what's going on with the 76ers? And, yo, one day we're going to have to talk about Paul George looked like he's where Melo was at in 2017.
Oh, he's washed.
I wouldn't say washed, but he's not getting you over no hump. Like,
nah.
Not at this stage.
That's why I think he's washed.
Yeah, like Embiid is gonna have to carry this shit. Paul George is a better option versus what they had from before.
Yeah, Paul George is not that defender anymore either, bro. I think he leaves on the 2019 rep a lot.
Yeah, you're right, because I found it funny because going up against the Knicks, they had Paul George not defend OG.
No, Paul George is living off of old reputation now.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense because OG was tearing them apart because that was a mismatch. They rather had the other smaller players play him, and I'm like, Paul George should be guarding him.
Yeah, no, Paul George is really living on that 2019 Oklahoma City Thunder MVPG era, you know?
Yeah, but you know what? I'm gonna shoot podcast piece and bail. It's still early. He might be working his way. I don't know how. Let me ask you a question. When the Clippers had ended last season, was Paul George hurt?
The Clippers ended last season, Paul George.
Because I don't understand how he started off this season.
He was relatively healthy, no?
Unless he had surgery off season. Like, I'm like, why is he playing in like the 6th game of the year or whatever?
I remember
whatever
Kawhi
game
was
he
hurt,
came back.
and I think did PG get hurt last? Let me make sure, bro.
Because I don't remember him being hurt.
Bro, the thing is with him, I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro. Paul George in playoffs, bro, like is either hurt or he's choking.
Yeah,
They played the Suns the previous year,
yeah, he did.
2023.
Yeah, he did. He was healthy.
Yeah, he was healthy then.
Yeah, he had a bad playoff series, but game 4 he had 7 points.
Okay. Then maybe
yeah.
he probably was dealing with injury with that 7 points.
Yeah, he played 40. It's crazy. He had some bad games. In game let me see, game 5 he played 33 minutes, 15 points, and then game 6, 42 minutes, 18 points.
And that's what probably made the Clippers confident moving out from him, you know?
Wow, I'm looking at the shooting percentages. 40%, 27, 30, 33. Wow, he only had 2 good games in that whole series.
Yeah, bro, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think Paul George, look, man, I love his program, bro, but man, he does not look like he moves well anymore.
Yeah, it happens like that. Again, with Melo, people will never like to admit, man, Melo, his shit started going downhill even before 2017. Like,
100%. It went down like 2015, 2016.
Yeah, around that time. It was like.
But the thing is,
once he had that
he had
knee
the green
surgery,
light. The thing is, he always had the green light, so he was scoring like crazy, which earned him all-star spots.
Exactly. Once you start seeing guys like Paul George average 22, 20, and they're getting max deals for averaging 20, you know it's over. Like it's the beginning stages of. He might end up averaging 15 points a game when Tyrese comes back, like 15, 18.
Be a hustle, Tobias Harris, and hopefully better.
Yeah, he might be in a Tobias Harris role.
Yeah, but the thing is, you gotta have to hope that he's good. Like he becomes a good off-ball player.
Yeah, let me see. Paul George, what has he been doing without Tobias?
But dude, his contract looks like dog shit, man. Paul George's.
Yeah, so he went.
As of right now, he might have the worst contract next to Jamal Murray.
Yeah, look, he went up against Orlando, tough defense, scored 13 points.
Yeah.
In 36 minutes, and then it went up against Miami. That's another smart defense, scored 18 points. And this is without Embiid and Maxey in these games. No Embiid, no Maxey.
Yeah.
So yeah, Paul George is in charge of this whole team. Yeah. Oh man, it's so game in Miami. Miami kind of blew them out. Let me see, Orlando. That's tough. Him going up against Orlando by himself in 2024. 4-15. It makes sense. But he had 4 steals though. Orlando must have been sloppy with the ball.
Also, hey, Nick Nurse, bro. How the fuck does your reputation fall to the gutter that quick?
Nick Nurse he's in Philly, right?
Yeah.
You
go from one of the best coaches to like, what the fuck?
No, he did okay last season, but I think he needs.
As of right now, bro, 2 of 11, like.
Yeah, he needs.
Let's be honest, he's slandering Doc Rivers right now. But
honestly, look at Philly's roster though. Outside of Embiid and Paul George, it's really, you got Kyle Lowry, you got Jerry McCain, you got the French guy that dunked on LeBron that looks extra slow in the NBA.
Yeah.
You got Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon could barely crack the rotation.
Yeah.
Kelly Oubre is not really playing
Drummond's
as well as
their best.
The
Drummond is probably like their best 6-man.
Yeah, but Drummond plays the same. Drummond plays the same type of defense as Embiid. He's a slow center. Yeah. So they're in drop back all the time. So it's crazy. You got and then you're desperate when you get Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson at this point is like the last year of his career.
Yeah, Philly's too top heavy. They're way too top heavy. You're paying Embiid, Maxey, Paul George. You're way too top heavy. Way too top heavy. I mean, you could tell from the rest of their roster. They got Eric Gordon. I mean, the Kelly Oubre, he played really good last season. That he's worth to re-sign. But you got Reggie Jackson. Like, it's man, you play against teams that have multiple players who could shoot. Like you could even look at the Knicks. Who, like, once you get Embiid on Karl Anthony Towns, OG on Paul George. Who the hell is defending Mikal Bridges after that?
Yeah.
And Paul George now, he's at his age, you're probably gonna have to put Kelly Oubre on OG or someone else, and then someone else is
You're
gonna have to
put a
defend
hustle
Mikal.
player, and none of these players are as quick to defend any like OG or strong enough to defend OG and an OB.
Yeah, I personally, I don't even think Paul George could defend Mikal for a whole game.
Bro, then you have a problem because how the fuck are you gonna guard, for example, Franz Wagner and Paulo Benchir? How are you gonna guard Evan Mobley when he comes to town? How are you gonna guard the Milwaukee Bucks if they ever become good again? A lot of teams, how the fuck are you gonna guard them then?
Yeah, it's a tough scenario.
Yeah.
It's a tough scenario
Jaylen
for
Brown,
Philly to
Jason
figure
Tatum.
out.
Jason Brown, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown.
Ooh, and then Derek
And
White.
that's another.
Derek White, and then
Derek White.
all
Yep,
these
yep.
fucking Pritchard and Hauser and these guys. If you don't close out on these guys fast enough, they're gonna knock down threes right on you.
I didn't even go to the West.
Yeah, OKC. Imagine them going up against OKC.
Versatile in every position. Imagine going up against like Julius Randle, and Julius Randle plays like a physical beast. Anthony Edwards, Naz Reid. You have to go up against, you have to go against Kevin Durant. You already know Kevin Durant's gonna get his buckets when he comes back. You have to go up against LeBron, Anthony Davis. I could just bring up billions of examples. The Dallas Mavericks with those guys. A lot of examples. If Dallas ever figures it out. Too many examples you can mention. The Rockets with how young these guys are and how much they run to get their baskets and how great defense they play, kind of tiring out the offense.
Yeah. Did you see
Yeah.
Memphis continuing to troll LeBron?
That was funny.
Yeah, honestly, I would say Ja Morant is like the only one that's trying to dethrone this guy out of the younger players, which is crazy. But let's take a look at Desmond Bane, because they interviewed Scottie Pippen Jr. and remember the Lakers had him, and let's take a look at what he had to say, man. Him and Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane is funny as hell.
Scottie, congratulations on the win tonight.
He snatched that ball from that old man over there. From that old man over there.
A little extra for you tonight going against your former team?
Definitely. They didn't believe in me, so I'm out here, trying my best.
Yo, of course they didn't believe in. That's another role player that they do not believe in. Everyone's like, hey, why'd you let that guy go? We could use this guy right now.
Bro, lack of developmental coaching too, bro. Orlando Magic, I like Taylor Jenkins a lot. It seems like he has a good head on his shoulders. That guy likes developing talent. Scottie's right now, the whole team is kind of injured for Memphis, right? So the fact this guy's been able to step in and get his minutes and really shine, I think there's a record he had. Him and Scottie Pippen are the only like son and father duo to have a triple double.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
The actual father son duo that actually earned the right to play in the league.
And there's a lot of pressure being like the son of a player. Gary Payne, he was a journeyman before he found a role in Golden State. So Scottie,
but
Scottie Pippen Jr.
But none of these guys had a carpet rollout into the league.
Not like Bronny James.
Yeah, being in their draft position, because all these guys are either undrafted or second round picks. None of them had a carpet rolled out in promotion.
No, I remember Gary Payne Jr. was drafted. He wasn't even drafted after the 2017. I like to say 2016 draft. He was an undrafted player the Rockets picked up for their G League, the Vipers, something.
Oh, okay. But again, the Lakers, it's a lot of missteps, man. A lot of missteps with the pieces to put around AD and LeBron. The KCP, the Alex Caruso, the choosing kind of overlooking Mike Conley and choosing D'Angelo Russell, which is not a good fit.
Yeah.
The Russell Westbrook trade, you didn't really utilize Kyle Kuzma. Maybe you could have got a better piece. It's just so many fucking mistakes, man. It's crazy, bro. It's just crazy. I don't know, man. They're too overly focused on getting Bronny. Nobody else was focused on getting him. They could have got him undrafted. They could have used that pick to get something else. And it's funny because nowadays in the NBA, because we're used to hearing the second round draft pick, oh, who cares? But nowadays, they dedicated a whole day to
value.
it. Yeah, because it's valuable in this new landscape. It's it's a global pool coming in. There's talent coming from all around the world.
All around the world.
We're seeing players who are like, you know, the talent pool is just a lot higher. We're seeing players like Jaylen Brunson, the Draymond Greens, Jokic. We're seeing players that have huge impact coming out of the second round. Shit, even Scottie Pippen Jr. Like, we see guys who could come in and who could play. In this current CBA, it doesn't make sense for the Lakers to have LeBron James, Anthony Davis, all that high salary, D'Angelo Russell on the team.
Yeah.
You barely have cap space to go get somebody, and you're wasting second round picks. Those things don't make sense, and this is why I say over and over, the Lakers are not in the business of winning. They're in the business of LeBron.
Selling tickets.
Yeah. They have a shitty team right now, and they have $188 million on their cap. With a shitty team.
I mean, Max Christie, bro. Imagine, they could have picked up Vince Williams Jr. And he got, obviously he killed it in Memphis last year. They could have picked up even Jaden Hardy, who's solid in Dallas. They could have picked up a lot of solid talent.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, with LeBron having these last years in LA, I'm wondering if word is getting around the campfire. If like you're a player that's developing and you're trying to come up into the league, avoid the Lakers. It's crazy how free agents are avoiding this team. They didn't get Klay Thompson, they didn't get DeRozan, and you got players that are on the come up trying to work their way into the league. They're avoiding your team. Like, this is crazy. We've never seen the Lakers in this position before. This is absolute mockery what they're doing.
I mean, they got lucky with Austin Reeves. I'll give them that. I think that Dennis Connect guy, he seems to be okay. But other than that, if you're a young talent, really looking to develop your game like your Max Christie, I think he's only 21 years old. You're wasting your time.
Yeah, it's just nowadays, like, once again, Jeannie Buss, I just don't think she's operating in current times. See, a long time ago, it used to be like, oh, a second round pick, who cares? They're getting garbage time minutes. In today's NBA, you got second round picks that are coming through after like maybe a year or so after development. They're coming in, they may drop like a quick 15, a quick 20 here. Shit, they may even have a 30-point game out of nowhere if you have a couple injuries. The league it's just the spacing, the talent pool, just the way the game is being played today. It's like, you can't waste these fucking picks, man. You can't waste these picks. Like, it
now you have a
doesn't make
hustle
any
player,
sense.
you have a hustle player coming off the bench and those second round picks.
Correct. They got Jackson Hayes, Cam Reddish on the bench. Like, you look at this bench, you're just like, whoa. Like, after the starters come out, like after Gabe Vincent, Gabe Vincent is a kind of a flop for the Lakers, is not working out. Like, who the fuck? Like, what is this team, man? They're wasting. AD is just wasting his prime years over there, but he's getting paid. He's getting paid.
I mean, he's playing like an MVP, so
he ain't gonna win MVP.
Not
like that.
Probably not. It looks like Jokic might win it right now.
But you know what? The Lakers, surprisingly, it's early. They're 9-4. But I think they have an easy schedule to start this shit off.
Yeah, but right now, I mean, dude, they had a bad. I think they had a record. I think it was away games. They had a bad record on that early on in the season. Like early on. Obviously, we're still in the early on.
The more the season progresses, we're about to see them, especially LeBron, the age at some point is going to start to show. And when it shows, it's going to happen fast.
Yep.
It's going to happen quick. But, the NBA usually hooks the Lakers up to start off the season.
And they'll probably get a draft pick once LeBron retires. They'll get the first overall pick.
Yeah, but they usually hook them up with the schedule. Like,
let
me see, the T-Wolves. The West is just so stacked, they can't hide them.
No, you can't hide them with even a good schedule makes it hard,
But, they got some good wins to start it off. But Phoenix, let me see, Cleveland. You see, they lost against the good teams. And then Toronto they beat. Detroit they lost to. That's kind of funny. Memphis they lost. Yeah, that's the one where they really messed up. No, that's the one against Ja. Ja was healthy for that. Then they beat Philly, hurt. Raptors kind of rebuilding. They beat the Memphis without Ja. Then they beat the Spurs. Yeah, you see? So they went through a stretch right here. Philly, Toronto, Memphis hurt. Philly hurt. There was no Embiid. They played San Antonio. They're really young. They seems like they're kind of tanking still. And then they played the Pelicans with no Zion. And now they got the Jazz. And so their next game, they got the Jazz, right? So it's gonna look like the Lakers are rolling. But I'm pretty sure now, after they play the Jazz, it's gonna be Orlando, Denver, Phoenix, San Antonio, Oklahoma City. Then they got the Jazz again. Then Minnesota, Miami. So we're gonna see. I would say the next like 7 to 10, we're gonna see, and they're gonna be on the road too. They're gonna be on the road against the Kings, against Miami, Minnesota. Yeah, they're gonna be on the road. We're gonna see, because that end of November going into early December, and even their month of December is gonna be difficult. They have a harder schedule. But that's what the league does, man. It always bless this fucking team with the scheduling.
Yeah. Right. They're the league's baby.
Yeah, that's the league's moneymaker, LeBron. So I mean, it is what it is. But do you think the league is kind of relying on stars that are a little bit too, I don't want to say are over the hill, but the league,
The stars of yesterday.
yeah, there's a lot of like, you could see it with the injury report this season. There's a lot of stars. They're like 35 plus. It's like, like the league is a little bit too old. Like it's the league. I don't know. It's the marketing has always been around the next generation. It's never fully been around guys 35.
Yeah, LeBron, bro, 3 decades gets harder to replace.
Yeah, and it's not working either because we're hearing about the ratings.
Because now we're talking 2003. You're talking, what, 21 seasons in the NBA now?
Yeah, it's
22 seasons. My apologies.
Yeah, it's just, I don't think it's sustainable. But the drop off is coming. What do they always say about J. Cole? He has like an album called The Drop Off or some shit like that.
Or some song like that.
Or
yes.
fall season.
About like,
the fall off or some shit. Yeah, that's basically what's waiting for LeBron, man. There's a fall off coming.
Man, he's falling out on his own terms, bro. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, it's definitely a fall off. I think Ja Morant gonna be part of it though. Ja coming
you think
for
Ja
his
Morant's
neck.
gonna dethrone him?
Ja already made it be known.
I think Victor Wembanyama.
I don't think Victor's gonna be ready in time.
Did you see Sham's room? Sham said something on ESPN that LeBron's looking to retire next year.
I wouldn't be shocked, man, because the fall off it has to be coming, bro. It's like, come on, man. Like, you're really like, the thing is, LeBron has to worry about him falling off. This is how LeBron's fall off is gonna look like. It's gonna look like him averaging maybe 22, 8-8, or 7-7, but the Lakers are like the 11th seed in the West for a whole season. That's how his fall off is gonna look like.
You're predicting a Kobe type fall off where it just like he's getting the green light to do whatever in every game he visits.
Exactly.
Yeah, but dude, I think it was LeBron talked about retirement a long time ago. I don't want to miss. I think he said something to the extent that he doesn't want to like make it into like a big festival, which is pure bullshit. LeBron's for sure making it a big festival once he announces retirement.
Yeah, and the craziest part is that I feel like the league is gonna have better basketball once he leaves.
Oh, 100%. You're gonna get better fandom too, because now those fans have to attach to a new player. So now you open the game up for like John Morant, Paulo Banchero,
for the younger teams.
Alexander. Yep, younger players, younger teams. But like I think he said something about I'm not trying to make it a big deal or whatever. I'm like LeBron, you care about your brand. You are gonna release a Nike ad where you announce your retirement. Let's keep it real now.
He loves attention.
Keep it real. He loves it, bro. He's not retiring like Tim Duncan. He's going out like Kobe. If not, like in his mind, he's going out bigger. Because I remember when Kobe retired. It was an article. Was it an article or something like that where he released like I'm retiring, and that was when like he couldn't stay healthy to start the season off. He's like, you know what, this is where my road ends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where I think also with D Wade, he retired like after he was frustrated. Like he almost retired in his time in Cleveland, where if he didn't get traded back to Miami, he probably would have called it quits anyways. But I think, and then obviously he had the whole jersey exchange retirement tour. So these LeBron, if those two went for like this big deal, grandiose, or Kobe didn't really try to go for grandiose outside of the 60-point game, but he was such a cultural phenomenon that it became a cult. Like it was more organic than as compared to D Wade or potential LeBron James retirement tour, you know? So it's for sure gonna be a big commercial deal. So I think if LeBron announces retirement next season, I wouldn't be surprised if like the NBA Finals is forgotten about, unless it's like 3-1 style, like the year Kobe retired.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man, because the NBA is entering into streaming, and I just think that transition, you know, it's probably gonna happen when the NBA enters into streaming.
Look, man, you cannot rely on a 40-year-old to be the face of your league when you're going into a new platform.
You're right, they can't, but the attention will be there to start it off, and I think their plan is to figure it out from there. Because the one excuse the NBA has that nobody's talking about with all the NBA has low ratings storylines or whatever, is that if you look at the amount of streaming platforms to watch an NBA game on, it's so spread out that there'll never be ratings on one thing.
I don't think they care about ratings. I think they care about advertisement now.
Yeah, they care about advertisement and real estate and streaming, I would say. Because they have plenty of inventory. There's plenty of NBA content. It's 82 games from 32 teams. Or how many teams in the league? 32?
Yeah.
Yeah, 32 teams, 82 games. So they have plenty of content to give to streaming.
Okay, right now you're cooking, right? Let me cook this, and you tell me the idea. Next year they're going to streaming, right? On Amazon?
On Amazon, NBC, and ESPN streaming. Also.
All three platforms, right? Wouldn't it be the most ideal for LeBron to retire once his transitioning era happens?
It would be. It will guarantee them certain ratings for the streaming.
Imagine the money that's pouring in. The last, like, LeBron James. This is potentially watching LeBron's one of his few last games against, I don't know, Luka Doncic, against John Morant. If Zion's healthy, against Zion. Victor Wembanyama, the future versus the current.
Oh yeah, they're gonna plan it out that way, because when you think about it, just like the Jake Paul and Tyson fight, it's gonna be streamed globally. It's gonna be one streaming link that's global.
And forget the younger guys. Imagine the games people tuning to watch him versus Kevin Durant for the last time. Him versus Steph Curry. Him and Kyrie Irving sharing the court for the last time. Him in Miami Heat for the last time. Him in Cleveland for the last time. Holy shit, you're asking for like something to be talked about for like a whole month. A discourse surrounding just his appearance stepping into the court in Cleveland for the last time. Stepping in the court in Miami where you see D Wade, Bosh, and those guys, because they're going to make it a big spectacle, right? You look at just like him and Kevin Durant, you know, two guys who spent their whole careers going at it with each other. Him and Steph Curry, all those great finals runs. His peers with James Harden and Russell Westbrook, Kawhi Leonard, like the storylines with just his peers and kind of the younger talent, it'll be fire.
Yeah, I didn't think of it like that. Yeah, you're right. And on top of all of it, is going to be with his son, Bronny.
Yeah, his son. His son will probably get more minutes next season, you know, knowing that he's retiring. So it's a lot that these streaming services would probably bank on, and it makes the most sense for LeBron to try to go to that route if he were to announce his retirement, usher in a new era, whatever he wants to do. You know, the king is done. The king is whatever, and he'll probably retire on his own terms. Because if LeBron's team sucks, what are fans gonna say? Oh, you know, it took teams took teams to beat the king when he's 41. So it's a win-win for everyone, you know.
That's true. Wow, yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good storyline, man. Wow, I can't lie, man. I want to tune into that storyline. I'm not even gonna lie. I want to tune into that.
Dude, imagine how many like fucking subscriptions NBC, Amazon, and those guys will sell just off that storyline. So it's plausible. It's more than plausible.
Yeah, because the Luka versus LeBron for the last time could be where's Luka from? He's not from Slovenia.
He's from Slovenia.
Oh yeah. So imagine the people in Slovenia gonna be tuning in, because remember this is streaming now. So hey, tune in. It's gonna be that most of that country is gonna be watching versus LeBron now, because it's gonna be one stream. It's gonna be one stream now.
And then you got audiences in China, right? This audiences everywhere willing to watch LeBron James' last game. Like, bro, it sets the stage up for something bigger than bigger than, I don't know, bigger than the Olympics, bigger than everything.
Yeah,
because that was the Olympics. That was what the Olympics was about this year. It was about seeing three legends play basketball for possibly the last time. Yeah. And that sold a lot.
You know what's so funny? You saying that about like the global aspect to it. One thing we don't hear too much about it anymore that we used to is the China dynamic. I don't know what's the China dynamic with the NBA.
Geopolitics.
No, but like honestly, it's shocking that we don't really hear with the NBA and these TV deals. We don't hear too much about China.
I think what ruined it big time for China was the whole Daryl Morey controversy from a couple years back.
So what do you think? You think they don't show the games, period? I think the NBA still got to deal with them.
No, they show the games. They show the games, but I think with America's geopolitics and I think with Trump's administration, this upcoming one and the previous and their hostilities towards the Chinese government and obviously like economics and all that stuff, like economic hustle, I think there will be a Cold War between both powers when it comes to economy all over the world, right? I think obviously it's probably best for the NBA to kind of distance himself from China, despite it being a big market, you know?
Wow. Yeah, because throughout this whole, streaming wars, NBA and the new TV deal, we don't hear too much about like what's the structure with you in China. Because I know the NBA has a huge deal with China, but as far as like rights.
China's important for the NBA.
Yeah, because remember, well, I'm not sure this is not publicized too much. You know who used to really be big in China? Woj.
Adrian Wojnarowski?
Yeah, he had his own show out there. I think he did something. No, Woj had like a whole thing out there. There's something like they don't talk about it too much, but Woj has some sort of broadcast show. He has some sort of show that was big out there.
Dude, you remember how much I remember there was an old video. I think this was 2008 Beijing Olympics when Kobe walked out of the fucking limousine and like everyone ran to him. You remember that video?
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, every summer there's like a pilgrimage, man, from the players. We seen it this summer with Luka, Zion, who else? Jason Tatum. There's a Nike / sponsorship, like whether it's Adidas or Under Armour, whatever it is. There's every summer with the top NBA players. There's like a summit where these guys have to make the trip to China.
Yeah, and but dude, you remember?
Well, my bad. And it's been like that ever since Jordan has been in the league. Jordan's been making the same pilgrimage. Is that the fans never knew about it? But
I think Kobe was the peak of Chinese. Oh, Yao Ming, Kobe, Tracy McGrady. Those guys were the peak of Chinese basketball.
But it's always been a thing. They just never. There was. I think when Jordan was playing, there wasn't social media to publicize it. But David Stern has always been making that move since back then.
Oh, 100%. But I think it was peak of it paying off was Kobe's era.
Oh yeah. With Yao Ming for sure.
Yao Ming, Kobe, Tracy McGrady. Bro, even like people forget Tracy McGrady was a fucking cultural icon at one point. When he went to China, it was a big fucking deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're right. Man, this is these are interesting times, man. It's gonna be an interesting, I would say, next couple of years with the NBA. But you're right though. LeBron is it's gonna be a huge farewell on streaming.
Yeah, 100%. That's what he's looking for. So why not the first year of like streaming? You have this LeBron farewell tour. You're ushering in a new era, including streaming services.
Yeah, farewell
Yeah.
tour.
And LeBron, he's for sure using it to like tell these streaming deals. He's like, "Yo, I made you this much money. Now let's talk about a show." He's not an idiot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he has
He wants to be a mogul.
Yeah, I think he just expanded his media company.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. He's gonna tell these streaming services. All right. Yeah. You see, even at 41, I'm a cultural icon. Forget like basketball. Now you gotta pay me.
Yeah, I mean, look at that show he did with JJ.
Yes.
They did a quick
Wait,
show. Like that show was like a pilot show. It was like 6
Man, it was a job
episodes.
interview. It was a job interview.
Yeah, but it was dope though. That show, I'm not gonna lie, LeBron doing that show with JJ, that was dope. That's
Bro,
something
even the
hopefully they
barbershop.
continue. That was dope.
Even that barbershop episodes were big.
I mean, I wasn't really into them like that, but
I'm not into them either, but people watch them. I saw clips of them, so clearly someone's watching them if they're clipping them.
yeah. People, of course, they
Yeah.
got a lot of celebrities on them, but I think a
Yeah.
lot of that barbershop stuff, to me, it seems like a Nike ad. A lot.
It
of
was corny.
No, it's
It
not
was-
corny. It seems a lot of it is like Nike. It just seems like a Nike ad.
Maverick Carter, Maverick Carter trying to be a more of a entertainment
Narrator.
icon. Yeah, narrator kind of. He's
Yeah.
putting himself out there, which is good for him.
The
But-
conversations at times don't seem authentic. It seemed like they were already scripted.
That's what I'm saying. It was a commercial. That's why I call it corny.
Yeah, but LeBron, how big of a name he is now. It's like, a lot of his stuff is gonna be kind of scripted.
Also, you remember when you talked about PC culture, how these players follow PC culture? LeBron was the first one to follow PC culture, if we're keeping it real.
No, I think it might have been Magic and Bird.
No, man. Even Magic and Bird had Magic had controversies.
No. But I'm talking about as far as like being a figurehead for the league.
Oh no, figurehead, yes, but being that perfect figurehead was LeBron easily.
Perfect figurehead. Yeah, it
Yes,
might have been
'cause
because at least Jordan, at least he gambled. But Jordan was kind of a perfect figurehead too, because he knew to toe the line.
Yes, but he had a
wasn't
lot
dumb.
of controversies, right? Like politically, he had a controversies. You remember when he said Republicans buy sneakers too when they try to make him endorse a South Carolina candidate? He also had the controversy of the gambling, obviously, and then Kobe, the accusations and everything, kind of him and his father's beef, his wife divorce. You don't see those controversies with LeBron. His personal matters, nothing. You see a sparkling, nice family, a representative of America,
Yeah, but none of
Black
that's real.
America.
We all know none of that's real because what human
Yeah.
is perfect?
But dude, that's what I'm saying. He's the one that followed kind of the PC culture. He's like the Bill Cosby, the Cliff Huxtable of NBA.
Hey, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of hush money involved. There's a lot of
for
things
sure.
that we don't know about. And remember,
sure.
there's Nike. Nike's also involved.
I mean, Nike. A lot of big companies were involved. Correct.
Yeah, so they're
But-
gonna hide, anything.
Yeah.
We
But
seen
dude,
we seen people who don't even have his image are able to hide things. Look at P. Diddy. He's able to hide hotel footage of him beating on a woman.
Yeah,
So,
100%, but-
and that's just P. Diddy. His image is not as big as LeBron's. He doesn't have
But
a
Diddy-
Nike behind him.
But Diddy, man, he's an A-list celebrity though. He had Universal and these big music studios
Yeah,
behind him.
but compared to LeBron,
But
he's
he
not-
also had. I mean,
LeBron
he's
is
not as
LeBron is
big.
levels ahead of him.
But those are athletes and entertainers. Diddy as an entertainer is an A-list celebrity.
Yeah, he's A-list celebrity, but think about it. The way he operates, the drinking, the
Yeah.
alcohol, the partying. There's nothing that says he has he doesn't have a Fortune 500 company behind him.
He's
LeBron
not meant for
does.
kids. Yeah, Diddy was never meant for kids. He was meant
Yeah.
for like teenagers and adults.
Yeah, but LeBron is meant for kids. Not only has the NBA, he has Nike directly behind him.
He's SpongeBob. He's meant for kids. He's child friendly. But you didn't really see that with Allen Iverson. You saw kind of an edge, which made like people gravitate towards him because being Allen Iverson's cool, And like don't get me wrong, LeBron is cool, but he's much more like crafty with his coolness. Like it's much more of a charisma. It's not much of a LeBron James like pushing like social norms or pushing like making people question like family values. I think him, Steph Curry, they all introduced that kind of. And I think modern day, like if you want to look at the NBA's bad boys, Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, but how often do you see those two kind of marketed as much as LeBron or Steph Curry?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, what brings the dollars in is what LeBron and Steph Curry is doing, because they open up the door for the next generation to get the sponsorship money.
Yeah. And you're seeing a lot of,
hold on. The problem with Allen Iverson is that the sponsorship money would have never came in at the same rate that it is now. Had Allen Iverson been the face, it's not coming in like that. It would never come in like that.
That's why you see like James Harden. You never really saw him become like the face, despite him having best seasons in the NBA.
It's almost like being a president. Being a president requires a certain image. You have to have a family. You have to be a certain age. There's a certain requirement. It's the same thing like to sit in LeBron, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan's position in the NBA. If you want to be that figurehead, there's a certain appeal. There's a certain look.
You follow A to Z rules. You know, you follow. You get into politics, but don't get too involved in politics where people start hating you.
Yeah, believe it or not, there's been players that have actually been hired to control other players.
Yeah, I know.
Like what's his name? Vernon Maxwell. He actually talked about how the 76ers hired him to actually control Allen Iverson. I'm gonna play this clip real quick.
Out the fucking team for nothing though in the finals. I mean, when we was getting the finals against Lakers.
Yeah.
And I was been playing the goddamn series. I didn't get a chance to play in the series because he said I wasn't. He wanted me to. I can't make Allen Iverson do what the fuck Allen Iverson don't want to do. He's the franchise player on the team. I know y'all brought me in here because I won 2 championships. Want me to show him how to be a a leader and all. Man, I can't tell this little motherfucker what to do. You know this, D. And you know this. That's a motherfucker. That's you talking to a brick damn wall, telling Allen Iverson what the fuck to
one
do.
ear, I'd be like, why are you talking to me?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And that's why he was like, Max, you don't shut the fuck up, sound like them white folks. You know, I was like, well, damn, man, I'm just telling you what the motherfuckers brought me in here, man, to try to make, I can't, but he said, motherfucker, you ain't. I say, man, he said, they ain't gonna do shit to you. Shit. And Larry Brown called me in there right before goddamn the finals and shit and told me something about, Max, we gotta let you go. I told you I needed you to handle this young kid. I said, I can't make this.
Right before the finals?
Yes. Yeah. Damn. You got rid of my dog ass.
That's not crazy. Cutting a player right before the finals.
Yeah.
But that's how much the NBA wanted to control Allen Iverson. They saw his impact. It was undeniable. Allen Iverson was like the most influential player in the league. The audience, he had kids coming in with sleeves. He had even white kids wearing braids. Like the influence was crazy, but they did not like the image, man. They didn't like what he was doing. The people he was hanging around with. It just would not bring in the sponsorship dollars. I think that's the only part that never really translated with David Stern. He never fully explained it. You know what I'm saying? He just said there's a dress code. But people didn't understand at the time he was negotiating with ESPN to get the original first-time deal. And that he couldn't do it if every night they was going to have Allen Iverson or just other players come in with do-rags, etc. The corporations wasn't going to spend the dollars on that.
Especially with hip hop at that time having a negative image too, because we just came straight off of the Biggie Smalls and Tupac beef, right? So the last thing the NBA wanted was to infuse those two worlds together.
Exactly. The cross branding with that, it's just the way guys getting $100 million deal from Nike or other sponsors, those things would never happen. Never happen.
Just recently, it became cool to have NBA players and franchises mix and dwell. Before that, these franchises did not want to associate with rappers.
Yeah, like look at the way Travis Scott, has all the collabs and everything, and them making rappers ambassadors. Those things would have never happened years ago. Those things would have never happened when Allen Iverson was playing, because the image the way there was no like sample size other than
I mean,
like,
dude-
you know, previous athletes from before, but those
Yeah.
athletes from before, like OJ, Dr. J, that had advertisements, they didn't have hip hop associated with it. It wasn't a big enough genre. I think the first NBA team to have hip hop associated with it, which the team didn't even know, the team didn't really even listen to hip hop like that. You know what team was it? The Bad
Orlando
Boy
Magic.
Pistons.
Oh, the Bad Boy Pistons.
Yeah, the Bad
that's
Boy,
it.
the Raiders. You see, the same time that the Bad Boy Pistons came up with the Raiders logo, that they were wearing the Raiders colors,
Yeah.
was when NWA had came about, and
Yeah.
they were wearing the Raiders hat. I seen an interview with Isaiah Thomas. He had no clue about even NWA. That's how much those guys, they were not
Well, you
raised
guys-
in the hip hop generation.
They were into jazz and blues.
Yeah,
and
they were
shit
into
like that.
other things that
Yeah.
Isaiah Thomas didn't realize
R&B.
when the Bad Boy
Yeah.
Pistons came up, that the Raiders logo was also being made popular by the NWA group. He had no idea. And that happened around the time when he was like
Late
in
80s.
his mid-20s, man. And he had
Yeah,
no idea.
late 80s.
Yeah, that shows you like hip hop back then, it was so niche that guys even in their mid-20s on a superstar level like the Detroit Pistons, they weren't even listening to that shit like that. It was so
athletes,
niche.
Yeah.
But
Magic wasn't listening to shit like that. Magic was an R&B fan.
And when Allen
And-
Iverson came up, hip hop was still considered niche. It was
Yeah.
I think hip hop was just on its commercial run in
It
the
was
in the
Shaq.
2000s.
Shaq played a role too. Shaq played a role when he rapped with Biggie Smalls and those guys.
Yeah, but it was still considered niche.
Yeah.
It was still because if you look at the like even like the award shows, rappers like Biggie Smalls and those guys they went to, they were like very cheaply underneath the basement awards. Rap wasn't on the level. Like when you think of a rap award show nowadays, you see like red carpets, designer clothes. It wasn't like that back then. Guys were going into places where it was sketchy. You could get into a fight, a shootout could happen. Look at Biggie Smalls. He got killed at a hip hop album release
Sports award.
party. You know what I'm saying? Like these things were like underground. They were still underground. They weren't mainstream. And I think Allen Iverson, when he came up, the hip hop stuff, it just wasn't as mainstream as it is today. They would never hire a rapper to be an ambassador of a basketball team when Allen Iverson was playing. It was impossible. They were never gonna do that. Like now you see Wale, you see J. Cole and Charlotte. They would
Drake.
never had done shit like no NBA team would ever affiliate with any one of these guys back then. Drake with the Raptors.
Think about it like this: New York was the toughest in like hip hop when it came to the '90s. Biggie Smalls, Wu-Tang Clan. You look at, I'm missing a lot of rappers. Mobb Deep. Who else is a New York rapper I can think of on top of my
Like
head?
Jay-Z.
50 Cent. 50 Cent was a lot later. Jay-Z. Murder Inc. A lot of hip hop acts came out, right? But you never saw them associate them with like Patrick Ewing or any of those guys.
Nope.
Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason.
Nope.
Never. And they probably would have fit.
And even a player as big as Jay-Z, like not a player, even a rapper as big as Jay-Z, he had no affiliation with no NBA teams. It's not until hip hop became mainstream and we seen him years later have an affiliation with the Brooklyn Nets. But stuff like that, it wasn't a normal thing. Like it wasn't a normal thing for that to happen. And that's why the dress code, the whole issue with the NBA and Allen Iverson, it's always kind of taken out of context, because it's like, yo, the NBA did not have TV deals like that. The NBA was on TNT, and you had to have NBA League Pass. That was it.
Yeah.
There was no ESPN, NBA. Nah, it was none of that. It was like maybe ABC might get the finals. That's it. But I think the ESPN NBA deal, when Allen Iverson first came about, or when he was on his rise, that was the first time they got like a huge deal like that. That was like the first time they really got a huge deal. But you know, everything has to be put into context, because some people, they still complain about the whole Allen Iverson dress code, and I'm just like, hey, if they complain about the Allen Iverson dress code, there's some of the same players who still like, oh yeah, they did Allen Iverson wrong. Then you have to give back those millions of dollars of endorsements that you get, because it would have never happened for you like that.
It was whack. Like, there's no denying that. But the NBA, they kind of, as a business standpoint, they obviously had to do what they had to do.
But it's not really the NBA. It's the sponsors. They do not want to they don't want to pay that money, advertise their products when the product looks a certain way. It's not really the NBA. It's the sponsors. Like nowadays, the sponsors they have adapted. They say, hey, Travis Scott is the guy. You know, oh, such and such rapper, Ice Spice. They realize the marketing is too big. It's too undeniable.
I remember it was Hennessy and Nas was a really big commercial. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah, and look, that's another thing.
Diddy used to rock.
The NBA used to never advertise alcohol. Now they advertise alcohol. They advertise gambling. That was a stigma. Oh, no gambling. Now they're advertising gambling. You know what I'm saying? Hey, who knows? Soon, I think the NBA might even start doing collabs with marijuana brands. I wouldn't be shocked. It wouldn't shock me. If once they legalize marijuana, I would not be surprised if the NBA does collaborations where they let them advertise. Because if they're advertising gambling and alcohol, once they legalize marijuana throughout all 50 states or whatever it is throughout the country, I wouldn't be shocked if the NBA start seeing marijuana ads while you're watching League Pass or some shit.
100%.
Like nothing is out of bounds anymore. So, hey, they're going for the bag. They're going for the bag at the end of the day.
But also back to like LeBron and kind of like his whole image thing, right? A lot of players like Julius Randle, Jason Tatum, they have marketed their families to the extent where like it's gotten over with people. I remember like obviously Riley Curry, and you remember Steph Curry, Riley Curry press conferences during 2015.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Yeah, Chris Paul's kid making fun of Blake Griffin the way he looks. Like those were at one point it became like a staple of every NBA player's kids being on TV.
Yeah, it softened up the league's image. It's soft, even though the league has really never done nothing to have like a bad image like that. They don't really have like a long history of a reputation of being like a bad boys league, but they were always perceived that way.
The cocaine era.
Yeah, they were always perceived that way.
Mm-hmm.
Even through the Jordan era, even through KG and the 2000s, they were always perceived like a bad boys league. But now with the way the league is now, it's not even perceived that way. That's why hip hop can now come into the league, because it's like they could more get culturally infused with different things, with gambling, alcohol, because the league is not perceived a certain way.
And that's everything. Like even NFL, they associate themselves with Jay-Z. Before then, they never had a hip hop performer in their Super Bowls. Never. But unless they tag along with like Madonna and Nicki Minaj, or I think Snoop Dogg tagged along for. I don't know if Snoop Dogg ever tagged along for a performance, but even Janet Jackson, they just made it a huge big deal when it wasn't even her fuck up.
Yeah,
so,
true.
Yeah,
but you know what it is? At the end of the day, I feel like they've adapted to their audience, because at the end of the day, all these like all these leagues, they want to attract. I would say 15 to at least age 45. They mainly want to attract that, and I feel like they understand now that hey, there's people that grew up, with hip hop, and they're 60 years old. So if they grew up with hip hop and they're 60, imagine the generation behind them. They're still listening, and this is the culture that they're infused in. So I feel like the leagues have adapted, like especially the NFL too.
Dr. Dre performed with Snoop Dogg and 50 Cent, and
you used to never see stuff like that in the NFL. Never.
No.
It would be like
especially someone like Dr. Dre and Eminem, who's had controversial hip hop careers. Same with 50 Cent getting shot many times. You wouldn't imagine like a world where those two are performing. Snoop Dogg with his whole rep before becoming a star. The guy was almost charged with a felony, right? During Doggy Style era, over in a gang association. Like it's just crazy how much the league has, much like the world, society, and also these leagues who at one point perceived as kind of trying to keep as much distance as possible, right, with hip hop. Now they're kind of infusing their culture with hip hop. Like right now, I think this Super Bowl we're seeing Kendrick Lamar perform, right?
Yeah, it's very culturally relevant. Yeah. I think this is the first time where we see a culturally, because Kendrick had the best year, so it's like the Super Bowl actually reflects something that happened recently. This is the first time we're seeing it so close, tied together.
It's not a nostalgia. It's not nostalgia.
Yeah, it's
Usually
not.
it's nostalgia, right?
Yep.
Because like Dr. Dre hasn't released an album since what 2001, so it's cool to see yo Dr. Dre performing, all of his classics. It's cool to see Eminem, kind of perform 50 Cent in the club and the way he did it, like his music video. Those were like what the fuck cool,
Yep. So at the end of the day, it's tough. It's tough to see, but I mean, at the end of the day, everything evolves. If it's not evolving, it's dying.
Yeah, I think internet has also made these cultures relevant. Like they're not like us. You can't tell me if it wasn't for the Twitter campaign and how much people memed it and loved it that we wouldn't see on the Super Bowl today and soon to be February.
Correct. Yeah. It's these leagues. It forced these leagues to adapt because now the world is a lot smaller with the web and just the way things go viral on these social media platforms. It kind of created like a blurred line. Like everything is like in a way kind of cross marketing, cross promoting. It's audience are blurred. An audience here could be also an audience that overlaps here. It's a different thing. Look at Beyonce. This year's Christmas games, NFL Christmas games, has to do with Beyonce. It's a great fusion. It's a great fusion. There's a lot of casuals, especially the ladies. They're gonna be tuned in. Look at the election. There was a lot of people that didn't care about it, but they tuned in just to hear Beyonce talk. So it's a lot of cross marketing, audience overlaps. These are interesting fucking times, man. I tell you that.
We are moving ahead, bro. Like even nerds have become popular. Like Elon Musk, who would have thought that a nerd would decide what the election results would be just by his influence and kind of like him being this whole beacon of hope.
And you saw his reception during that UFC fight at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah,
with
Elon
Trump
Musk
over there,
is a celebrity now.
Yeah, it's a lot of like that UFC signified a lot of. There was a lot of different subsets infused in that. It was like the political sphere, the fighting world,
because the UFC is a new league. Like NBA, these are Godfather leagues, right? And you look at the NBA, NFL, even boxing, which boxing has also kind of simmed towards the Trump thing, but not as heavy, obviously, because boxing isn't that culturally relevant as UFC. But UFC, they're kind of like a new thing, right? They're kind of the bad boys of the whole like sports industry. Dana White himself was a personality, which David Stern was a personality. Roger Goodell was a personality, but they weren't that big of a personality outside of what they do.
Yeah, I mean, one thing you brought up with boxing, they haven't really infused culturally until they accepted the prize fighting. Like when I say prize fighting, I mean like
YouTubers.
No, not even YouTubers. When they accepted Conor McGregor versus Floyd. Yeah, when they started doing stuff like that is when boxing got more culturally infused. Because the last time they really I would say the last person other than Mike Tyson to really culturally infuse boxing is Floyd Mayweather. Yeah. He took the social media way of promoting for fights.
Yes, but you remember at one point, dude, boxing was aside of baseball, even baseball's questionable. Boxing was that league that makes you into a superstar household name. You remember Foreman? You remember who was a World War II Joe
Lewis.
Frazier?
Yeah, like
Joe Lewis.
There's a lot of cultural, like people almost timestamp history. You can almost timestamp certain time frames in history with boxing.
Muhammad Ali in the 60s with Vietnam War.
Yeah.
Joe Lewis with the World War II, right? Because he stopped boxing to serve in World War II. You could bring up a lot of names, man. Foreman in the 90s, Tyson's era, and Foreman's era with Ali, and kind of how like he kind of filled in that void when Ali retired. You look at
look at boxing. Tyson fought. I forgot who he fought, but the night he fought someone, Tupac was there, and those are the last pieces of footage.
Was it like Evander Holyfield, I believe, right?
No, I don't think it was Holyfield. It was somebody, but Tyson fought somebody, and that was the last night. Those are the final hours of Tupac being alive. Like, look at the cultural relevance. Like,
I mean,
but baseball, I feel like baseball is slowly getting back to that because you could see the investment, the way they treated this year's MLB playoffs in social media, the way they posted it, the way the videos that they have of the players running through the bases. I was like, yo, baseball has invested in some money into like kind of creating like a whole atmosphere, a whole ecosystem online with their product. It looks a lot different now.
It's the most relevant sport in Houston if we're keeping it real.
Yeah, I mean, it probably is. Out here, you guys love your baseball, but I'm saying like it's lost its relevance. Like back, like it used to tie into American culture, but it kind of lost its way. But I see it now; it's working its way back.
Yeah. Oh, and I also got to give credit to like the Houston Astros and the Yankees rivalry. That brought it back big time.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about like the recent rivalries where they take each other like 7 games and every game was hard fought, and you think the Yankees are once again like gonna win, and the Yankees becoming good once again, the Dodgers becoming good once again. That opened the floor for baseball to come back. Those two major franchises.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a generation of players to change things. And it's the same thing like the NBA. Some people might feel like right now they don't have too much star power outside of the older stars, but it only takes one draft class. Look at the 96 draft class. You got Kobe, you got Jason Kidd, you got Steve Nash, you got Ray Allen. Then eventually got Vince Carter's and all that.
Jason Kidd, I think, was a year ahead, but still, I agree.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like there was like a 97, 96, 97, 98 that kind of changed the league.
Paul Pierce, Vince Carter, Eric Carter. You have, D Wade, LeBron in 03. You have a lot of Kevin Durant 07. I think Dwight Howard 05. No, it was Dwight Howard 05 or 04. And then Chris Paul. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of new stars kind of came in and kind of became bigger names. Derrick Rose 2008.
There's always that class. There's always that one class that it changed everything. Like if you look at the LeBron class, it kind of changed the way the league operated. It was almost like young guys came in like Melo, LeBron, and Wade. They were instantly got the keys to their franchise. Their franchise knew right away, okay, these guys are valuable. We're gonna put all our chips into these guys right away.
Yeah. 2009,
because it wasn't like that for Kobe. Kobe came to the Lakers. He had to play behind Eddie Jones. Those times it was different. They weren't gonna make a high school kid, get 40 minutes a game. Yeah, they weren't gonna do that. But now, that's the norm.
With
that's the norm now.
Melo, Wade, and LeBron became starters instantly.
Yeah, that's the norm.
And then
now.
obviously 2009, where you had Blake Griffin somehow turn the Clippers around, become a mega superstar. And then you have, James Harden, Steph Curry becoming MVPs and GOATs in their own realm, right? It's just crazy how every generation has something. I think we're still this era right now, we're not appreciating it. But bro, you look at it, I mean, dude, what first overall pick can you really say was a disappointment in the past few years? Karl Anthony Towns is a success. Ben Simmons early on was a success, but unfortunately we know what happened now. You look at Markelle Fultz was a failure, unfortunately, but Jason Tatum became a star. De'Aaron Fox, he's a star. Then you look at 2018, Luka Doncic, Jaren Jackson Jr., Trae Young. You look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You look at 2020, Zion Williamson, John Morant. When they're healthy, they're one of the most exciting players. Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Halliburton, a lot of names. Paulo Banchero, Chet Holmgren. You can name a lot of players that have become electric stars, but they're not getting their respect right now as we speak. Anthony Edwards, you could just bring a bunch of names right now that are becoming more relevant as time progresses.
Yep. Hey, interesting times that we're in. But
yes,
Saeed, it's definitely been real, man. Yeah. Definitely appreciate you. You guys definitely check out Saeed's newsletter in the description below. Catch up with all the latest NBA news. A lot going on in this crazy league right now. A lot of changes are happening on the tech side, TV side, and within the players and teams themselves. Just the style of play, the way the salary cap is. Just keep up with all that. Definitely check it out. And yeah, man, it's been real.
Subscribe to Orange Cookies, man.
Definitely appreciate you.
Take care, bro.
All right, man. Peace.
Peace.